All right, you guys. Can you guys see me and hear me? Everybody see me? Okay, good. Did I? Hold on, make sure the chat is up. Okay, perfect. So we still got some people in the waiting room. Thank you to everybody who switched over. Thank y'all for being here tonight. I figured the new rule goes into place February 1st, which is not even 48 hours. So if people haven't switched over, and we've been telling people for the past 10 days, here goes the link. Please switch over. Please switch over. If you haven't, we're going to assume that you're not going to be here February 1st. So why should you benefit from coming to the Zoom meeting? Right? So 1,000 people switched over. So, anyways, I hope you guys are doing good. I see the chat is popping. We got a lot of people in here. It has been going crazy. If you guys do not know, Wall Street and Reddit, the girls are fighting. The tech giants are once again being called into question. They're trying to deplatform Reddit. It is a bunch of drama going on. So what I want to do first is basically start this off with a screen share. The Rising did a really good, they did actually 2 different videos on the topic where it kind of explains it. And they just uploaded another one. It's talking about them now trying to go after, social media platforms and people on these different platforms. They had shut down one of the subreddits. They had shut down one of the Discord groups because there was a lot of day trading information on there and, people giving tips. So to the people who don't understand what's going on, I'm going to share that video with you guys. So that way everybody's on the same page. People understand the extent of everything, how it started, and how, like I've been saying from day one, for the past few months now, that the old guards, they're, the old ways are going away. The old guards who have been in charge of finance and tech and who had just built these monopolies where only a small, percentage of the population is eating and becoming millionaires and billionaires. Meanwhile, the people who are putting work at the bottom of the pyramid are not seeing anything but crumbs. Well, now that's really starting to shift. And that's one thing I can say about the coronavirus. I think it's woken a lot of people up to, just the BS. You had people who were laid out for months, who weren't able to work, who had no income coming in, who had to depend on the government for their income. But meanwhile, Wall Street was booming. Amazon was booming. Elon Musk had the nerve to be crying tattoo tears. And it's like, you're a billionaire. Why are you mad? Like, your buddies have been doing this since the beginning of the stock market. And now you guys are upset because somebody put a U on you. How does that work? How do you get mad when somebody pulls a U on you? So let me go ahead and start this video. I'm about to share my screen with you guys. So y'all go ahead and watch this. Give me just a moment here. Pull this up. Okay, I hope you guys can see and hear it.
All right, Sagar, what's on your radar?
Well, I have a confession to make. This is the first story that's excited me in a long time, covering the pandemic and Trump and Stop the Steal and Capitol riots and the Biden presidency. It's been a real bummer. And I have not felt a pep in my step like this in many months. And it is now thanks to a bunch of Redditors going after the people I despise the most in our society. Speculators on Wall Street. By now, I'm sure that you're all familiar with the story. Hedge funds and billionaires took out a massive short position on the company called GameStop. A band of Redditors on a subreddit called Wall Street Bets called their bluff, drove the stock up to the tune of thousands of percentile more to force those hedge funds to liquidate billions of dollars in losses, while the merry band of Redditors gets rich. It's the ultimate David and Goliath story. Underemployed and unemployed, sitting at home in their pajamas, using the power of the internet and new trading platforms like Robinhood to destroy the kings of American finance. We are never going to go back to the old ways of doing business, and Wall Street knows this. So what's their solution? It's one that we, my friends, must resist absolutely at all costs. Now they know that they do not have a monopoly on manipulating the market. They are going to do everything in their power to go after you and people like me who are not on the side of the billionaire elite. As I laid out yesterday, they are already going into overdrive on CNBC, who started off yesterday by inviting the literal CEO of the NASDAQ on to call for more regulation. Let's take a listen to that again.
One of the things that we're talking about is maybe misinformation and pump and dumps, and it's occurring on social media again. It just, I'm wondering whether it's part of the same problem, the type of regulation that we finally need to consider. And like I said, we should always have a light touch with regulation, but you're seeing the way things can get started. Again, this is different. Maybe it's Reddit, maybe it's not Facebook, but you're seeing the same situation. At this point, it's not about an election. It's not about an insurrection, but there are interesting things happening that seem to be spawned to some extent, or at least blown out of proportion by social media again, Adina.
Well, I do think, though, that as we look at these new technologies that are there available to everyone, including investors, I think it's also important for regulators to understand that, manipulation is manipulation, whether it's happening through a new technology medium or it's happening through traditional mail. So I think it's just a matter of making sure that we understand what the behavior is, what's underpinning the behavior, and working appropriately with the regulators to manage the situation.
Yeah, you heard that correctly. The guy from CNBC who hates regulation is now calling for more regulation. And the CEO of the head of one of the largest trading exchanges in the world is agreeing with him. Notice, when hedge funds manipulate markets, when they screw over regular people in different companies, when Wall Street requires billions of dollars in bailouts and floats from the Federal Reserve, there isn't any call for more regulation. But a couple of average Joes on the internet make money at the expense of a billionaire hedge fund. Well, that just can't stand. And I'm not exaggerating here, just showing you one clip. The idea across the American elite right now is that what has happened with GameStop is unacceptable. Don't believe me? Check this out. As GameStop and other stocks soared, Arthur Levitt Jr., he decided to weigh in. And if you don't know who that is, it's the former SEC chairman who literally presided over the dot-com bubble and was appointed by Bill Clinton, who perhaps more than any president is responsible for much of the financialization of our economy beginning in his administration. Levitt wrote an op-ed in Bloomberg calling for a full agency investigation into online stock trading platforms, and said that social media is taking advantage of users' behavioral psychology and pushing them into dangerous territory. Okay, maybe. I don't even really disagree with that. But doesn't it just tell you everything? That this is what they want to investigate now? That this is what they want the government to do something about now? Don't underestimate how mainstream this view is. Yesterday, the White House press secretary said Janet Yellen is, quote, monitoring the situation. Elizabeth Warren tweeted out that we needed more regulation. The state securities regulator for the state of Massachusetts said GameStop trading should be halted for 30 days. And the SEC now says they're working with regulators to assess the situation, review the activities, and other participants. Like I said, hey, maybe that's justified, but you people are silent on the crimes of the actually influential people who rig our economy on a daily basis. You want a near perfect corollary? Billionaire investor Bill Ackman. He went on CNBC in March 2020 to give an emotional interview to say hell is coming and that hotel stocks would go to zero. His interview sparked a panic sell on Wall Street. It is seen in retrospect as one of the precipitating events of that drop. Guess what? At the exact same time, right after that interview, Ackman was buying billions of dollars in the stock as it hit rock bottom. In fact, he pocketed $2 billion in bets against the market as it was crashing. It was a crash that he helped spawn through his influence, through his media appearance. Call me when the SEC and the media and others actually get upset about that. When Ackman got some bad press, but he still got billions in the bank. Call me when the government does anything about behavior like that happens every single day on the street. Here's the other thing. The elites control the institutions. When millions of people woke up and they saw this story and they checked Wall Street bets on Reddit, they decided, hey, you know what? I want in. And so they decided to try. And the companies themselves decided that they know better. At one point, Robinhood, E-Trade, and TD Ameritrade were all down as the market opened. But TD Ameritrade actually went further than anyone. They decided, you know what? These idiots don't know anything. They decided to block their own customers from trading stocks that were popular on Reddit. Once again, maybe this is justifiable. When's the last time a major trading exchange or a regulatory body or anyone blocked billionaires from executing their crazy gambling schemes? Never. Not once, because they own the exchanges. They reign supreme because they literally control everything. And it turns out that was the beginning of elite collusion. Later in the day, the site Discord, which runs the private chat servers, took down Wall Street Bet's chat forum, claiming that they had violated the terms of service for reasons other than their content, claiming that it had something hateful on there. And then the motherlode, Wall Street Bet subreddit itself, had to take itself private, at least for a short period yesterday, presumably because of threats from the site's admins that they would be unable to moderate the content without running afoul of platform policy. This is oligarchy, using government and private company control to enforce policies which benefit only the elites at the top. It's never been more naked. The good news is that this is just the beginning. Google decentralization. Google democratization of finance. The internet showed us the way, and we can follow it all. And that's the thing, Crystal, which is that, okay, yeah, the SEC, is this all good for society? No, it's not. Speculation is bad. But these people have been speculators and for so long. And if speculators are going to be legal, if it's all going to be legal, then why shouldn't at least the people at the bottom, the little people, actually be able to do it too? But now the SEC is getting involved. They said they're monitoring the situation. The former chairman who presided over the financialization of our economy is like, whoa, we got to investigate this. Everybody on CNBC is calling for regulation. Discord just deplatforms the entire website. Now Robinhood says you can't buy, AMC stock. We'll only allow you to sell it. I mean, there are just TD Ameritrade is jumping in for the good of their customers and all of that.
So noble.
Exactly. Where were you? What were you people? Where's the NASDAQ CEO when her exchange is used on a daily basis with high frequency trading, which has flash crashed our markets? I don't even know how many times. They don't care. That's all good because they make money on the exchange.
Well, and because those are their people.
That's the
their
thing.
class.
They would go bankrupt if they actually did that. When Bill Ackman's scheme, which was, it's pretty obvious to me, gets investigated by the SEC, you can call me, you can go after the Redditors.
Yeah.
Until then, I don't want to hear it. When is Bloomberg chat going to take down, because on the Bloomberg terminals, they can, it's called IB chat. They can all talk to each other. When they take down the chats and they start monitoring there of all the insider trading and all of the collusion that's happening on a daily basis between the ultra rich, then you can take down the Discord server.
I've heard there's some hateful speech on there. So
I've heard
we're gonna have
the
to look
same
into
thing.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was maybe the most egregious. There were a lot of egregious moments, but when Discord put out, this has nothing to do with GameStop. There's just some naughty language on there we've got to deal with. It's like, oh, really? It's just a pure coincidence that on the day that they're screwing over Wall Street and actually forcing these elites to take it on the chin, that's when you decide to get serious about content moderation. Okay, sure, whatever. But also, think about how this all started and why they decided to go in on GameStop to start with. It's because the hedge funders had shorted 140% of GameStop's stock.
Yeah.
Where's the regulation about that?
Yeah.
Why is that legal? I mean, if we're going to talk about, we need regulation, how come no one in this elite class is mentioning maybe that's not a really super smart thing to do. Maybe that's not something that should be ultimately legal. Now, I will say, I would bet that these hedge funds think twice about taking those super ultra aggressive positions again because they want to avoid exactly this situation again.
I don't think so.
I think they'll feel like, I do. I actually think it will curb their behavior on the margins because they don't want to be the ones that are all in on, 140% of shorting a company's stock. That was over the top, greedy and egregious. And that's what made them a target ultimately. Where's the talk of regulation around that? I didn't hear a word about that yesterday whatsoever.
Melvin Capital required a $3 billion infusion of cash. Now, they say they closed out their position. I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, back of the napkin math shows that they maybe lost $10 billion. $10 billion. That's real money. That could actually help people. This is completely crazy. And where's the call for regulation on that? Why should that guy be allowed to trade ever again? He basically caused, a bubble in our markets. Where's the SEC? Go ahead and bar him. They're not going to do it. Bill Ackman's
There's all the
out
hand
there.
wringing about, this may not match the fundamentals of the market.
Well, there's no fundamentals.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
It's all fake. If we ever have needed a lesson in that, look at during the pandemic when people were getting these headlines, dueling headlines of people losing their jobs, record-breaking unemployment and job loss, and at the same time, it's stock market reaches a new high. The whole damn thing is fake. Give me a break.
Right, and what they want to do is they want to protect their monopoly on the ability to manipulate the market and make money. That's what all this is about. I mean, even with the Discord thing, I saw this great observation. Discord was the ability for Reddit users in order to discuss what their next trades would be in the after hours moments. Well, so they got deplatformed, and then their subreddit went down while the markets were closed. You think the market's closed for the people at the top? They're not schmucks. They can trade offline. They can put through trades between one another. Their Bloomberg terminals are working just fine. That is literally rigging the markets in their favor. Everything is rigged in their favor. They have servers closer to the NASDAQ for their trades to get there 0.25 seconds before you're in mine, so that they can trade off of us and drive our prices marginally up, which means billions of dollars a year more for them. Everything is rigged in their favor, and they're doing everything they possibly can in order to rig it so that we are not able, in order to compete even on the smallest level. That's actually the crazy thing, which is even with Robinhood, look, all your Robinhood data, it's not actually free. They sell it to other people. That's how they actually make money. Even with this not even advantage, this one ability to compete, they can't even use that. They have to smack it down, because any sort of equity, they realize, is a fundamental threat to their entire system. It's a fugazi. It's a fugazi. That's what the whole thing is.
That's exactly what it is. And even one little crack in the facade and the call went out, we got to shut it.
Shut it down.
Next on Rising, Democratic strategist.
All right, you guys. I'm sorry, I haven't eaten all day. So I'm eating my little poke bowl. But they were saying some real stuff, and unfortunately, a lot of people of color don't know anything about stocks, or it's popular, it's funny. I was seeing like memes, right? There are all these different memes about what's going on Reddit with the stock market. And then there was one somebody posted on the Discord, and it was like, Black folks talking. They're like, well, who's Robinhood? Oh, ain't that, Batman's sidekick? And, it's, even though it's funny, it's also sad that when it comes to Black people, we're always seen as, being financially illiterate, when there's a lot of Black people who buy stock and who understand the stock market. So don't let social media fool you, but I think it's very important that people take this as a lesson and, start getting involved. Like, this is how people get money. This is how people build generational wealth. And the problem is the people who've been on top for so long, now they're worried. Now they're feeling like regular citizens, like, damn, the floor is falling out from under us, and they don't like that feeling. Even though they can get on national TV and say, well, I think this stock is going to crash. I don't think this stock is going to do so well in 2021. And then they plant these seeds. People run to go take their money out of said stock, and then they run and buy it for like, pennies on the dollar. And then they come back and say, oh, I think it's going to rise again. Then people come back and rebuy. It's just a game. It's just all a financial game that they play with people, and they play with people's emotions. But now they're in their feelings, and now they're trying to do all these regulations and stuff like that. So it is crazy. So I want to know y'all's thoughts on this. How do y'all feel? So start raising your hands if you want to speak about the situation. Keep it to this topic. This is not a financial, we're not giving nobody financial advice. Do not ask on what stocks to buy. Should you trade? This is not what that's for. They don't play with the fiduciary laws. And so don't ask. So let me go ahead and bring on Marie Hino. She was the first one. So Marie, please go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Marie, before you start speaking, can you guys do me a favor? And when you guys are done talking, can you guys please lower your hands so that it doesn't get confused with who's the next person and who's the next person? When you guys are done talking, first mute yourself and also lower your hands, please. I will appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, sure. Thank you, Marinelle. Hi, T.
How are you? Oh, she got muted. Hold on. Is everybody muted? Okay, unmute your microphone. Okay, there you go.
Hi there.
Hi.
Basically, what I got from that is that we're really socialized about, I've been thinking about this a lot. We were socialized in school that, like, if you work hard, that you can achieve anything that you can achieve anything that you want. But it really has become more abundantly clear to me as I get older that actually people, they don't really, I think the system, that it doesn't really want people who are at the bottom to like grow or progress really. And that's kind of what I see in this situation. It's really sad when you have people who have like really been financially affected by this whole by the coronavirus situation, where they've been laid off their jobs. They find a way to make money, but the big businesses are trying to stop them. It's the same with like YouTubers who have been able to become like really rich off of YouTube. The people who have had a monopoly on the entertainment industry and don't like it. And that's what I wanted to say, because for somebody like me who could like use the internet if I wanted to become like more financially independent, you know, more financially successful, now they're trying to stop people like me who have an interest from doing that. And I just think that's really sad.
I agree. And that's the problem. I think a lot of people are waking up and they're understanding how unfair the playing field is. And, you know, even when you think about going back to the college cheating scandal, how, like you were saying, we tell kids all the time, work hard, get good grades, do this, do that. But being a good person does not necessarily mean that you're in a better position in life. That's just the fact of the matter. When you have rich kids whose parents can literally pay them to take pictures and pretend to be on a rowing team, and they've never even grabbed an oar before, and their parents are willing to pay 500 grand to get them into their college of choice. And this has been going on for decades, but now they want to act new. You know, it's like we live in a really unfair system, and the people at the top, of course, they're not going to want to share power. Who wants to lose power? You know, having power and maintaining power ensures your survival. That's why I've been saying for a while that one thing I've learned during this lockdown from just reading and just watching so many documentaries, you know, because I used to have more or less the mentality, like if somebody's rich, if they're a millionaire, billionaire, they worked hard to get there. So that's not for me to fill away. That's their blessing. It is what it is. But then the more I started researching, and I realized for people to get to that billionaire status, you have to do some really, really janky things. You have to ignore a lot of stuff. You have to step on anybody you can to get to the top. I mean, when you think about some of these Fortune 500 companies and the things that they build and the consumerism that they push, and then you think about even their plants and the way that they make these products, you have whole communities that are suffering from like environmental poison and poison water and air and pollution. But the people at the top, they don't care because they don't have to live in those environments.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very, very, you know, crazy system when you really break it down. So thank you so much for that.
I just want to say one other thing, like for personal experience, where I work in a dental practice. The owner of that dental practice is, she actually, I didn't know this when I first started, but you hear little things from co-workers, and they told me how she was born into a wealthy family, and how her children, they don't actually work at the practice anymore. They work on and off. And one of her children does some things, but they get paid regardless of whether they're there or not. And it's a thing where it's
taxing your children.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that I was like comparing myself to somebody like a person who had like a more fortunate upbringing than myself, because I came from a family where my parents are immigrants. We're originally from Ivory Coast. My parents moved to London in 1992, and so on and so forth. And I'm comparing myself to somebody who's had a lot more privilege. It's crazy to think that we would end up in the same situation, that the system or school or society teaches us that two people from two different backgrounds can end up in the same situation, when you know that it's not. Once you have the knowledge, you know that that's not really the case. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication, which I'm prepared to do to get to a level where you're even close to the people at the top. And sometimes it's not guaranteed that you'll ever make it, really.
Right, right. That's why I tell people you have to learn the tax laws. You have to learn, you have to understand economics. You have to understand tech. I know it's not pushed, especially in the Black community. It's more about looks and hair and fashion and, you know, rap and basketball. It's all this stuff that distract us. That's what's pushed onto Black people. But you have to understand this stuff, because that is why other races are steadily advancing. Because when you go to a Chinese restaurant, and not to sound racist, but when I go to Chinese restaurants, like there's always kids working there too, you know? Well, the reason why the child is there taking your money and taking your order is because that is a tax write-off for the parent. You can hire your children to work for you. It helps you with your taxes and they get paid. I do the same for my kids. They get a check every month, and it also helps me with my taxes. But a lot of people don't know that. So that's stuff that you have to find out, and you have to research, and you have to, you know what I'm saying, really put work into to be able to better yourself financially and everything. So yeah, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you calling in, sis.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. Thank you. See
Definitely. Let me go ahead and bring on 420 Nini. Go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hi, Lovely T.
Hey, how are you?
I don't know how to raise my hand down, but I'll try to do work on that. Okay.
Okay.
My thing is with this whole how the guy was talking about, we should be regulating the rich people. It's like the rich people are the ones who's doing the regulating. So how are they going to be the ones to be regulating themselves? Like, what type of company would, be able to like regulate people that's making out like these just billions of dollars? Like, who's going to regulate that? Like, who's going to tell them stop? You know what I mean? Like, my little public defender is not about to tell your billionaire lawyers that, oh, they can't trade. You know what I mean? So that's why I never really got into the, trading and cryptocurrency and all of that, because I feel like it's like a rigged sort of like slot machine for rich people. Because I could put my $200 in there and lose it in a day, but you could go and invest $10,000 and end up being $50,000 in a couple of hours. You know, it's gonna
they lose it too.
What was that?
I said, and it doesn't affect them in the same manner if they lose that money either.
Right. And that's the same as I'm talking about with the rich people. Like, it doesn't affect them when we're spending our money to make you rich, but now it's gonna affect you when you're losing your money to make the poor people rich. Like, come on now. Just like you said, how you gonna get mad when you pulling the you on you?
Right. And that's what it boils down to. Now, I don't know how they're going to regulate it, but whatever they do, it's going to make them look horrible if they're hypocritical about it. And now they want to for Redditors, but like he was saying, that man was on national television telling people about the hotel industry cashing, and he was able to cash in. The Redditors.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That happens all the time. I think that's what happened with, like the toilet paper, how it got, and a whole bunch of people made money off of toilet paper, off of all of the consumables that we use that have been running out. Like, people really been making money off of this. Like, regular people been coming up with hundreds of thousands of dollars just off of stocks and, regular things that we use all the time: hairspray, toothpaste, soap, stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm gonna just keep my money in my pocket. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna fool with none of those trades and stuff, because that's just too much.
Yeah, even with the cryptocurrency, I don't even know how I feel about that. I know they're moving a lot of stuff to digital money, but even with that, I feel like the people who got in early and at the top, those are the winners. Those are people who made it. So when you're coming in, 5 years later, like, you're not going to get up there anytime soon. So I don't know. It's a very, very rigged system.
Right. And then they coming out with all these other coins, like the gold coin and XRPs and whatever. And there's scams with those coins. Like, they'll tell you to go buy these coins, and millions of people are rushing to go buy these coins for pennies on the dollar. And then they turn out that they're not even worth anything.
Right.
So where were you putting your money into? Like for me, when I pay a merchant for a service or for a product, I'm getting it right away. But when I put my money into a cryptocurrency, I got to lock it up in this super locked safe wallet and all of this. I'm like, that's too much.
Mm-hmm.
How is that going to be regulated? And until that's regulated, I feel like it's never going to be fair, because you got like when it first came out, wasn't there like a billionaire or something that pulled his money out? Nobody knew who this billionaire was that created the Bitcoin or something. And he had like heck of money. And it's like, okay, aren't you supposed to be able to track how much money people have, like with taxes and stuff like that? So like, I don't know. I don't know how that just slid under the rug, but that was just weird to me.
No, I definitely agree. It's a lot of just different stuff that's going on in that market. And that's why I don't give financial advice. I'm like, people need to do their own research and follow their heart and what they, is comfortable for them. And I know Clubhouse was trending today, matter of fact, on Twitter. And that was some of the stuff that people were saying on Clubhouse is that, y'all keep following these, bootleg gurus, and then y'all
Right.
crying, on Clubhouse, everybody's a guru. I've never been on there, but from what people were saying on Twitter, like you have all these gurus saying invest in this, buy that, but you never really know who people are. I mean, even when you think about this whole Reddit thing, even my tin hat still tingles because who were those Redditors? How do we not know that they might have been enemies of the other people, right? That could have, because I'm sorry, but Silicon Valley people, billionaires, white tech guys, they fight very dirty. So
I mean, you could say with Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say that these guys did not do these to use the people as lemmings to, run and go buy that stock? Because think about it, the folks who got in first, who were encouraging folks to do this, the one guy, he made $24 million. And right now they brought his millions down. Robinhood brought it down to 18 million. So who's to say that all this wasn't some type of ploy for somebody, for like a few select people to get really rich off of this? Yes, give some crumbs to the little people who got in early, but the ones who plotted all this, they're not official super millionaires.
And that's crazy. I was just thinking, sorry, something just crossed my mind when we was watching The Minimalist. It's like, the more money you make, the more you spend. So that's probably why these people are really mad, because even though you're a billionaire, you probably spending billions, still making billions. Yeah. So it's like when your water gets cut off, even though you're a billionaire, you probably ain't got no residuals back there because you're spending all the money that you're making. So, I mean, I get why they mad, but at the same time, man, you've been making this money for a long time. Now the tables have turned. People have literally lost their entire livelihoods. They don't know where to turn to. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't just go down and make, $150,000 a year at Taco Bell. Like, it's not gonna happen. So people are really desperate, and I think the billionaires are too.
Yeah.
But I gotta go. I gotta go get my baby from daycare. Love you, Lovely T.
Okay, love you too.
Keep listening.
Okay, thank you for calling. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and bring on Universal Uni Virgo Soul. If you go ahead and mute your microphone.
OMG, I can't believe I done got picked. OMG, Lovely T, I love you.
Hi.
Hi. I've been like, I always come to the Zooms and I'll be putting my hands up and never get picked. So I am blessed today and highly favored. Thank you.
Amen. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. So I want to say about the stocks, I know you can't give any advice about that, but I've been so stagnant because like I have a Cash App account and they allow you to do stocks and Bitcoin. And I applied for, I don't know nothing about Bitcoin, but I did invest in it. And then I invested in many stocks that I use because I have learned a little bit of literacy about what I should invest in, the things that I use. So I have invested, and I thank God I invested in Zoom before, this whole situation. But I'm just concerned about the fact that like, I already don't have enough knowledge about stocks, right? Mm-hmm. And then all of this is happening. I feel like what did I get into? What did I get myself into? That's how I feel, kind of. I don't know if there's anyone else out there like that, but like to not have full knowledge of what you're investing in, but trying to invest to be better, and then not know enough knowledge to know like what should I do now. Like I heard a lot today about buying and selling, sell. It was like saying sell, just sell, you couldn't buy, but just sell, or trade, whatever the thing is. And I was just like, what should I do with what I have, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I was very concerned, and I'm just like, where do I go to get more knowledge about the stocks? Because I just feel like in my community, personally, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, or whatever, and I just feel like there's not a lot of financial literacy. I'm beginning to learn that. I'm doing it myself because I like self-taught education, but and I'm advocating for myself so I can advocate for others later in life. But at the end of the day, where's all this information? You know what I mean? Like it's not easy to get to know what I'm getting myself into. That's what I feel lost about.
I mean, the only thing you can do is just research in Google. People are putting down, I've never heard of this site. Somebody wrote babypips.com.
Oh, I see that.
They're putting some stuff in the chat. But usually for me, when I want to learn about stuff, I just put the topic in and I just go and just wherever it leads me. And, you got to just be able to just decipher, what makes sense to you. You know what I'm saying? If somebody is speaking to you and they're, and it's resonating. And if it's not, just go on to the next video. So there's many people who like break things down, but you just have to, just really research. And
I'm so scared.
it does get confusing because you got people saying, oh, if you have it, you better sell because it's going to get ready to crash. It just all depends also on your financial.
I have like a little bit of PTSD because I'm a part of the people who remember when there was a crash in the what's that what is the thing you check your credit on? Credit Karma, and the other one. And there was a crash and there was a breach in that and everybody's information got out. Somebody stole my information and got $14,000 worth of thing. I had to go through the police. I called the local news station, and thank God, because I called the local news station, like, you ain't gonna get my black ass. You know what I'm saying? Right. You ain't gonna get me, because I know that, a lot of black people like to do that scamming shit, but not me. I was a very honest person. So I called the news station, they investigated and they figured out it wasn't me, and everything got cleared. But I'm still very scared that the fact that someone got me like that and I didn't even do anything. I haven't searched the internet like that other than for information to educate myself. How did someone get my information other than that Credit Karma thing? Of course, I need to track my credit. So, I'm just like PTSD with information.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely understand, but I mean, that's really the only thing you can do. I mean, you have to, unless you pay a day trader or, I mean, there's like different like stock people you can talk to, but you usually have to pay them. They're not just going to give free information. Like I know E-Trader, they have like advisors that you can speak to directly, but again, you got to figure out which E-Trader works for you and, who will be able to explain, the stuff that you need explained to you.
Okay. Well, that was just my little thing about it. I'm just concerned because I'm new to it and I see this alert that's like about the stocks, and I'm like, oh, Lovely T know everything. You my number one news reporter. I don't care. They be hating on you, boo. And I hope that you get to 1 million, you know what I'm saying, beyond 1 million followers. And regardless if you don't, just know that you have people here that really care and value your research and the information that you put out. I watch every video. My kids, I be like, this is Lovely T. You better respect her. When I die, you better watch her type joint. You know what I'm saying? So I respect you, sis, from one Black sister to another. You are a queen, and thank you for being here. I appreciate it, and thank you for getting me through quarantine, because I got 4 children and I be going crazy.
Oh, I can only imagine. Well, thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you.
So let me go ahead and bring on, let me see here, Mosey's Brand Saver. Go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So my experience with like the stock market and day trading, I actually learned a lot because I work in finance. So I had really good CEOs who taught me about opening up our IRA accounts for my kids when they were young. Now, before this, I had no knowledge. I didn't know anything. This guy was like, you know, your kids are young. Did they have a retirement account? I'm like, now they're like 4. He was like, open one. That's how you get wealth. I'm like, okay. So he showed me. But this whole thing with Reddit and the market crashing, my husband gets up every morning and he's down there betting against stocks. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're wasting our money. And I'd be nervous as heck. Like, oh my God, did you bet against GameStop? He was like, no, I'm not messing with that. It's about to crash. He says it's going to crash and they're going to lock stuff up. Now, he was saying this yesterday, early. I'm like, they're not going to lock it up. They're making all this money. I was like, why you didn't buy anything to GameStop? I was panicking, like, we could have had so much money. And then this morning, everything was locked up. He was like, and he filed Reddit. He was like, I've been on here. They've been chatting about this for a minute. He said they wanted to get up to $1,000. That was the chat. They wanted GameStop to go to 1,000. Then they're going to drop it back down. So I'm like, what? So I'm looking at all these people telling me they making money. And I know when I'm working in finance, these CEOs, they invest a lot of money. So I'm like, when the stuff is going up, they'll bet against the market, like it's going to drop. So we're going to bet against it. And that's how we're going to get our money back. So I'm like, oh, that's how the game. So people trying to invest, like you said, Lovely T, you just have to do a lot of reading, a lot of research. I did a lot of reading, a lot of research, and just know you're not going to get rich overnight like everybody else.
Right.
Steady wins the race. Just like a little bit every single day. Watch your stuff. I have TD Bank, and I was locked out of going in there to look at anything. I'm trying to get my portfolio. I couldn't look at anything.
Well, yeah, you saw what I was posting on.
Yeah. I was like,
Wells Fargo was talking about trade. Hold up now. Trade, like, where's the buy option? Like, all that stuff was gone. I had to call them. I never called the Wells Fargo number.
Yeah, everything was locked up.
Leave it there. But they're like, oh, we've been having a lot. But even the whole time was long. They were saying they're having more unexpected calls. And they're like, oh, you know, we've been having glitches all day. I think they were doing that to like try and force people to either trade or sell.
Yeah.
So, but it's back open now. But it's a lot. And that's why I said, even with all this going on, we really don't even know who's behind it. You don't know who people are on social media. Who's to say that's not a bunch of day traders who want to get back at, let's say, the hotel day trader? Maybe they had a bunch of stocks in that hotel, and when all the hotel, things crashed and that man made all that money, what's to say that those aren't his enemies trying to come back? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and a lot of these millionaires, they're gonna bet against. They're gonna bet against his dropping, so they're gonna make all their money back anyway.
Yeah.
So they want you to sell it. They want everybody to sell it, to drive it back down, so they can buy it for nothing.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. But it's definitely shaking the world right now.
Because GameStop filed for bankruptcy.
When did they do that?
I thought they filed for bankruptcy a couple of months ago.
Okay.
And I knew they was having some stuff going on with GameStop because they had a security breach. Like I'm one of the people that coupon, so a lot of companies have security breaches. That's why I be leery about I use a burner card on the internet. It's a lot of companies have security breaches a lot of times. So they had a big breach like 3 days ago. So people were getting gaming systems for like $2.
Oh God.
And they were trying to stop it, and all the stuff got shipped out. So they lost a lot of money on that, but they're not gonna put that out there. But yeah, they had a breach.
Okay.
A security breach. So yeah. But thank you.
Definitely.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right, sis.
Bye.
Let me go ahead and bring on Rizzy Rose or Rizzy Roz.
Hey, Lovely T. Hey, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
Oh my God, I wasn't expected to be chosen. Oh my God, first and foremost, I'm gonna fangirl. Love you, fire sister at heart.
Nation.
Oh, all day. Well, you're Leo, I'm a Sag, but we go hand in
Fire
hand.
signs, though, right?
Yes.
Right.
But no, thank you for this. Thank you for doing these Zoom chats. This is literally the only outside interaction I get on a regular basis is the Discord and just reading what people are saying and just getting valid outside information, because I'm honestly terrified of the news at this point. I don't trust a lot of what is out there. What I wanted to say was kind of reminiscent to what the previous caller was saying, just doing your research on a lot of things, because I feel the game has been set up for us to fail. The game has been set up for us to be distracted. So a lot of what gets put out there is modes of distraction to hinder us from overcoming. The point is for us to be where we're at. One thing I've been noticing probably since quarantine started is the amount of loans they've been pushing, like get a payday loan, get Affirm, get CanPay, get Zezzle, all of these pay by month or pay by every 2 weeks, whatever the case may be. Like they're pushing a lot of
Financial stuff.
Yes.
Have you noticed a lot of the new debit cards that are out now?
Yes.
There's a Game of Thrones debit card that somebody talking about. I'm like, why do they have a debit
Why?
Like everybody has a debit card now.
Everyone has one. And the thing is, like, I recently just started getting back onto, social media, just kind of trying to check here and there. I'm noticing now, based on the algorithms and how they're set up, all of these school payday loans, like things I've never gotten before. And I'm like, why are these people trying to put me in debt? That's kind of what it's feeling like, to accumulate more debt. And then everybody is just, getting this cash, trying to get free cash, everybody's selling their masters, everybody kind of going through the whole liquidation piece. It's just very terrifying. So I just say all that to say, like, again, thank you for what you're doing, because we are having these conversations, and there's, people like me, I've heard other callers call in saying the same thing. Like, I don't go on the internet like that. I don't really look at a lot of different people. There's only certain people you could trust and get that genuineness from. And you were literally like the first YouTuber to cover COVID. I was like, what? She knows about COVID? Follow, subscribe, immediate. Like you knew your stuff and you weren't afraid to voice your opinion and to go out there. And it's like, we need you. God bless you for that. Because
so much.
This light it's very low, but it's there, it's lit. And it wouldn't have been lit before, like channels like yours that give this information. And that's all I wanted to say is just everybody watch out for those algorithms, because they are definitely force feeding us to get into debt, more debt. And this is the time to get out of it, because they're handing us the very little cash while they're taking the very large sums amount of cash. So we just have to be very cognizant of that and, pay attention.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, sis, for calling, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You are my sister at heart. I don't care what anybody says. I love you all, and God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. No, she made some really good points. They are definitely pushing a lot of stuff with these algorithms. I mean, even like some of the ad manipulation, I don't, and I'm not, I don't want to complain, but I have to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm a YouTuber. Yes, I get paid from ads when they decide to monetize my video. But I remember there was a time when I would go, let's say I'm going to go get my lashes done or something, right? That's like a 2-hour gig. And before I could just literally lay there and let's say I'm watching whatever video and, it'd be like a 5-second ad and then it would start the video, right? So that was cool. But now there's like double ads. There's some ads that will go on for, if you just let them play for an hour. I'm like, this is not an ad. This is a documentary. Like, what the hell is, like, what is going on? So I'm like trying to get my lashes done. And it's just like, oh, and then I'm going to teach you this class and we're going to do, and I'm just like, okay, it's not been 5 minutes. When the hell's the ad going to be over? Because, your eyes are closed. So I'm trying to hit the phone and it's just too much. It is too much. It's like they're trying to stuff everything down your face between these classes, these debit cards, you know, the latest this, the latest that, the latest gizmo. You know, that's one thing I did like about that Minimalist movie that we watched the other day on Netflix. They did hit on a lot of good points. And one of the points that I really liked is that they said that when a lot of us were growing up, you always heard the phrase keeping up with the Joneses, because you always assumed that your neighbor had more, the inside of their home was better than yours and vice versa. And so when we were growing up, as human nature, you're always going to compare yourself to other people. That's just what we do as human beings. So you might compare yourself to the neighbor across the street or the neighbor on this side of you or that side of you. But that's fine, because for the most part, you guys were in the same social economic bracket, right? I don't care if you grew up in the projects, in the trailer park, or in middle class. If you grew up in the trailer park, all your neighbors also owned a trailer, right? If you grew up in the projects, everybody lived in the projects. But they said the problem with social media is it's broadened it for everybody. So now instead of you comparing yourself to your neighbor in your, you know, neighborhood where the average home is like 200,000-300,000, well, now you're comparing yourself to celebrities where their neighborhood and their income is in the millions. So you feel like you're inadequate. So that is what's kind of subconsciously causing us to go out and buy more stuff. I don't know if you guys caught that tea in there, but I thought it was really dope. I thought it made a lot of sense. You know, that's why we're constantly buying clothes and shoes, because we're seeing it on somebody who can actually afford it. And then you run out and buy it, think it's going to make you happy. And then now you have more debt. But then that's good for the credit card companies, and that's good for Wall Street. So it's all like just one big, you know, trickle down circle, you know what I'm saying? Like trickle down effect. And that's some of the things that they were saying. Now to touch on, somebody had wrote this in the chat a little bit ago when we were just talking about how the playing field isn't level.
I'm getting my keys tomorrow. Where's that check at?
Go ahead and mute her. Okay, so they wrote this. They said, I went to an all-white private school and the illusion was broken for me very early. My mom would be angry with me that I was in 7th in the class, and the girls at the top all had tutors and parents who were high-powered teachers, and the teachers favored them. Even small things like their parents would let them fake sick if they weren't prepared to take a test. Meanwhile, my mom was like, if you didn't study, that's on you. So basically she's saying that she learned, you know, at an early age that, you know, certain people just have certain benefits and certain privileges, and that, you know, just even coming into this world, you have to work twice as hard as other people. So I thought that was like a really dope comparison to what she was, you know, to what's being said here. So let me go ahead and bring on, We're Doing It Tonight. So go ahead and unmute your microphone.
It's We're Red Tonight.
Oh,
you always
I do that every time. It's Rare Red Tonight. I'm like, we're doing it tonight. Sorry.
You said me and your aunt have the same name. So
how are you doing, sis?
I'm doing well. I'm like, I've been trying to talk the last couple of Zooms, but it keeps lowering my hand for some odd reason whenever I raise my hand.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know why. But
well, you got the floor tonight. So what's going on?
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody was a weirdo like I was growing up, but I always watched documentaries. Mm-hmm. And one of the documentaries, I'm trying to find the name of it, but it was talking about Wall Street and the stock market. And you remember when it crashed and everybody went into the Great Depression. Mm-hmm. So the stock market, the model that we have was never meant to last this long. They were actually supposed to remodel it so that it would never crash again. That's why we keep having recessions. Mm. And so what happened when the first stock market crashed is because when they were building things to last. And so people weren't going out to buy anything. And because nobody were buying anything, companies were closing. And these caused the higher ups to start losing money. So nobody was trading, no one was buying. So factories and everything were closing down, and it basically caused the stock market to crash. So what Roosevelt did, they came up with this whole model because I work for Lowe's and I work in repairs. And so people will always ask, well, why isn't anything made the way our parents or our grandparents things were made? And I said the reason why it's made the way they're made now is because everything has to break down to keep the economy running.
It's called planned obsolescence.
Yes.
Thank you, Mom, for writing that, because I always forget that. I know what it is, but I forget the name, planned obsolescence. Yes.
Yes. And it's because if we don't keep the economy running, we're going to fall back and we're going to just be in a continuous depression. But the thing is now we're at a point where basically they should have redone the stock market to where we could keep our economy floating without having to rely on this old model. And now that when they keep telling us, oh, put yourself up by your bootstraps and everything, they were expecting Blacks and everyone to, to stay in their lane. They weren't expecting people to start moving classes and to start elevating themselves and to go up. So that's why they were strategically putting things in certain areas. So like, that's why when you go into the Black neighborhoods, you start seeing used cars and a lot of liquor stores and rundown buildings, because they figured if we could put this simulation or this idea on their head, they wouldn't rise above that. When they did it with the Native Americans, let's just give them this, but then also put in a lot of alcohol and drugs because we don't want them to go beyond this. So when they started doing that, they thought that if we can just give everybody just a little bit and keep everybody aside their means, then we'll be fine. But then you have Ronald Reagan with the Reaganomics and everything. And then you just start people seeing slowly start building in the 80s and 90s. And now in the 2000s and the 10s. And now, even now, you see people coming up with starter businesses. And you're just like, all these independent businesses are rising and growing up. And they're like, shit, they're coming for us. So what's the only way they could do? By locking the stock market up.
Yeah, I mean, think about even what they're doing to social media platforms that were built for people. And I just love when people, when I say it, people feel like I'm coming from a place like, you're just jealous of celebrities and they have the right to be here too. Of course, social media, anybody can be here. But my issue is when algorithms are favoring Will Smith. Can y'all please mute your phone, whoever that is? My issue is when you have algorithms that are purposely favoring a Will Smith, a Jimmy Kimmel, as opposed to a Lovely T or the next little Black girl who wants to teach people how to do hair. Because that's how I came up, doing hair videos. So how do you guys expect to be seen and get into the partner program and make your own type of wealth for you and your family if the algorithm is automatically going to suppress you? Because again, we were never meant to make money on social media. We were just meant to be consumers. So now you got Black folks waking up like, damn, it's 2021. These jobs are not stable. We don't know if I'm gonna have, work next week or if we're gonna be laid off. I want to start getting paid for my worth. And now you got a lot of companies filling away. Now, just like I was explaining yesterday in my podcast, when the people who were developing the apps on Facebook, they would make these games, people would go directly to their Facebook page. They'd have their PayPal link. Here, you can buy one of my games. I'll just use Candy Crush, right? Candy Crush. The game is $1. Okay, cool, here goes $1. Now, if you got 10,000 people giving you $1 for that game, you just made $10,000. You, regular Joe Schmo who took time out your day to learn coding and create a game. Facebook was like, oh, hell no. Only we're supposed to eat. Y'all are supposed to be consumers. So then what they did is they took the idea that, a lot of people who were making apps at the time, they were younger people, like, high school, college age. So now you got young people who are now taking care of their families financially. And these tech giants felt the way. That's why they ran to go make the Play Store and the Facebook gaming store. And now, oh yeah, you can post on our site.
Yep.
You got to go through the store and we get 30% of everything you make. Even though they're not in the lab with you with a pen and pad, you know what I'm saying? And creating these apps, they're not using their brain power. They're asleep while you're doing all the work. They get 30%. I could see 10, but 30? That's crazy. So
Yeah.
now people are raging against the machine and they don't like it.
Yeah, just like the people who like the Nokia phone. Like the person who made that, if the government stops a lot of these people who would have made things that would have last longer, but what they did is they brought them out, and then you just don't hear about them people. Or like the hydro car, or the solar power car, you don't hear about these people anymore because the government is like, no.
Oh no, not yet.
I'm sorry, somebody popped up.
No, you're good.
So, but it's just like, it's just crazy. And that's why I never got into the stock market, because like after seeing that documentary, I was like, this shit is gonna crash soon. And I don't know when, because it's like a gamble. And my dad, he works for Amazon, and I saw how much he had just for one stock in Amazon, and I'm like, goodness gracious. But they were giving them stock for free, but they ended up making their employees start to pay into those stocks.
Yeah,
because
it's crazy because they can afford to give it to them for free.
Yeah, because they were like, oh no, we're not giving you no more stock, and they started making them pay I believe last year or 2019. So it was just like he was getting it, and then for one stock it was just like, what? You get this much for one stock? And it was like, yeah, they was giving them to us for free, but when everybody found out how much you get for one stock, he started making everyone buy into it if you want it now.
One
So
thing
it's
I
just
will say
like,
about stock is if you can't afford it, like if you can't afford to just invest money to just let sit, because you're not gonna get rich overnight. Don't even get involved. If you need that, if that $1,000, if you need that, if that means the difference between you paying your light bill and your rent, go ahead and pay your light bill and rent. Only invest in the stock market if you have money to spare, and it's money that's not going to jeopardize you, that you're not going to need. I know people check their stocks on a daily basis. I don't. I might go and check I might go and check my stocks maybe once a year. Because you'll drive yourself crazy. I mean, unless you're like into like penny stocks and all that stuff. I don't. I'm into just regular stocks. But you can't get it where it gets you stressed out. It's not something that's supposed to like grow overnight. It's not like, okay, if I put $1,000 in, next month I'm gonna have 5,000. It doesn't work that way. So always only invest what you feel comfortable to invest that will not bother you if you lose it. Because that's another thing. If it crashes and you lose, $10,000, are you okay with that? If you're not, you just put your money in the bank or go get an IRA.
Yep. Well, thank you for choosing me tonight. You have a good one. You look nice today too. Relaxed. So you look good either way. So you have a good one.
You too. And sorry I'm eating, you guys. They got me on this new trial medication. So I've not really been feeling good, and my eating is just off. So this is like the first time I'm eating like all day. So I'm just trying to get something on my stomach if I have to take the medicine again. So I apologize. I'm not trying to be rude, but I just am not eating because I have not felt good. Who's next? Sorry. It was a Khaleesi. I seen the name Khaleesi. Oh, there it is. Nubian Khaleesi. I was like, Game of Thrones. Go ahead.
I love when I hear you say that, because you don't really get it now that you're into Game of Thrones.
Right. I'm like, I seen her name. Where'd she go?
I don't know where you are in the show, but I can't wait to see you on the party.
Oh, I know. I'm excited for it. Very last episode.
Oh my goodness.
You mean yesterday on Telegraph? I was going through like a little anxiety attack watching that final battle. I just didn't know how they were going to do it.
Whew.
Girl, I was nervous, honey.
I feel you. I just had a birthday, age of Aquarius, you guys. So
birthday.
I'm saying that because when we're talking about finances, I just turned 36 years old. And in my 36 years of life, I didn't start learning about credit and finances until I was like 34. And I was completely floored. I honestly, and then the crazy thing is my man, he's in prison and all they do is have time. They have Wall Street Journal, they have IBD. So it's crazy. I got schooled on the stock market about credit, about business and finance from these people inside who have no time. I mean, have all the time. And then I went out, I learned about stock markets. I increased my credit by like over 100 points in like less than a year, but it's because we don't know these things. Nope. They don't teach Black and brown communities, or specifically Black communities, about finance. They push they don't push education, they push sports. And just being able to like have that, I've been investing in stocks, and I went into Robinhood today, and because my man called me and he was like, you check. And I was like, you know, a while ago, I bought 300 shares of Sundial, which a lot of people don't realize is not just GameStop. It was a couple of stocks. I think it was like 5 or 6 stocks that you could not buy. You could only sell them, and they're penny stocks. So this stuff is driving up, and Trump would go on TV. He would drive the markets, and the game is so rigged because it's like sometimes I took all my money out of Fidelity, that I was investing, and put it in Robinhood because Fidelity wouldn't let me buy penny stocks. It's like they don't want you to make so much money. And then when I would be on Fidelity and I'd be making a short sale, they'd fine you for buying something and selling it the same day. And everything is pushed right now to this pandemic has affected small businesses more than anything. It's like, okay, now we're going through a recession. Small town businesses are gone, but these huge companies are getting PPP loans. So it's like we're getting smarter and wiser financially, and they don't like that. And it's really upsetting because I was like, let me go buy up 300 more shares. It's not that much. It's only $200, and it's just really frustrating for like even trying to teach people, like everyone has to know, like you said, about finances and economics. Mm-hmm. There's no way around it. Like even pushing finances, economics in school, and being your own business person, because I like to do wigs and stuff. And I remember my man said once, he was like, why don't you be the person that has a factory? I was like, I don't want to do that, but the people up top are just kind of giving us pennies. And then we're left with everything else. Mm-hmm. It's just, and I think I don't know what to do at this point, because I like to invest. I keep my stuff in there, but it's just really disgusting seeing how things went around the last 2 days.
Yeah, Robinhood, I know people are blasting them. People are really pissed because I don't use it, but I know a lot of people who do. But it was an app for the people. Folks who couldn't get into like regular trading companies and E-Trade and, through their bank and stuff like that. Like maybe they weren't, as credit worthy. These were like other alternatives. So for them to try and protect the day traders and the hedge fund people, as opposed to their consumer base, is nonsense. And I know a lot of people, like, they're pulling all their stocks out of Robinhood. And so now they're like, oh, wait, don't pull it yet. We might change some stuff, come back tomorrow. But the fact that you can even play games like that is too late. It's supposed to be a free market. But yeah, you're definitely right about school. You don't learn anything about finance. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. When I was this was like my junior and senior year, because I was really sick freshman year. So I was in the hospital for like 2 months. Almost died. So I lost a bunch of credits. So I was always like a few credits behind. And so I had to like make up for like classes to make up for the time that I was out of school. So by the time I was a senior, I had to take night classes on top of day classes to make up so that way I could graduate on time, because I was so sick freshman year. So I used to take night classes after school, like around 6 p.m. I would go back up to the school and I'd be in there with all adults. And I learned more in night class with these adults than I did during school. They taught us how to write a check. I never knew how to write a check. They taught us how to balance our money. They taught us, just so much financial stuff. And I remember even being young and talking to the teacher like, well, why don't they teach us this during the day? And he was like, there's just something they just feel like it's not important for students to know. So I remember that always stuck with me. Like there's a whole segment of the population that's allowed to know. And I went to a regular public school, you know, maybe in private school for some people, they learned it, or maybe in your district, you learned it. But when I was in school, they did not teach us that. They felt like it was the parents' job to teach you about finances and how to balance a checkbook and about credit. But the problem is, if you have parents who don't know, how can you teach the children? My parents didn't understand credit. They didn't understand finance. They had bad credit. So what could they teach me when their credit wasn't where it's supposed to be? You know, so because of what they went through with not having good credit and things like that, that made me, once I got into finance, that's what I did for years before I moved to IT. But that made me just really want to know more about money, how it worked, finance, credit, all of that stuff, because it's something that they do not teach. And then I had assumed, okay, well, shit, I'm a child in the 90s. Maybe it was way back then. You know, I'm sure things have advanced now. Y'all have, you know, Instagram and TikTok. Come to find out, it's even worse. These kids now, they don't know shit. It's just like, well, what is, you know, so it's like nothing has changed in like 20 years.
Math has gotten worse.
Anything when it comes to finance, credit, stocks. It's just insane that the same stuff that they were teaching us 20 years ago, they're still teaching them. And it's like, oh, so if you know that a lot of us are saying, hey, we wish we'd have learned this in high school, why are they not implementing that in these high school for these kids? Because they're not.
No, not at all. I didn't know what a check was until I started bouncing them. And then I had to fix that. I didn't learn about credit until I had bad credit. You know, I'm like, I'll learn through mistakes. And so, yeah, we just guess now we know, and hopefully we get better. I feel like I'm in AA or something right now. Thank you for letting me share.
No, definitely. Thank you for calling in, sis. I appreciate you. Let me go ahead and bring on Satchel Page. Satchel, if you want to go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so everybody get a pen, get a pad. I'm about to give you some free game. Now, in 1879, the Federal Reserve was sold to the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, and the 7 richest families. The dollar, which used to be backed by gold, was no longer certified or backed by gold. That's why you see all these gold places popping up, and they'll buy gold. They'll buy your gold because gold is tangible. Gold is actually a raw resource. It's worth money, like oil, like silver, like ore, like platinum, like uranium, like tangible things. Just like a bond, if you go buy a cash or a barrel bond from a bank, it is actually backed by gold. That's why it has a stamp, it's certified by the government, and it has a number that is in a sequence, just like you have a social security number, because you are leverage that the United States use to make money. That's why they say our national debt, it's who can make money. People who are of a certain age make money, you have a prospect of making money. So now let's go back to the Federal Reserve, which was bought by these big bankers. Now, when the Great Depression came, to the sister who said about the Great Depression and it being predicated by things that no longer broke down, that's partly true, but not solely, because everything breaks down because friction happens. No matter what kind of car you buy, you can have the nicest BMW or airplane, whatever, it's going to break down eventually because the motor's constantly moving, the oil gets old, things break down naturally. That's just how it works. The reason why the stock market isn't working properly, because her latter point, they were supposed to reorganize the stock market, because you got to understand, every person in America who's a consumer, who's a buyer, who's also predicated to make money, they were supposed to make it easier for people to make money. The United States is actually a corporation. The president of that corporation is the president of the United States. Most of the stockholders of our corporation were supposed to be United States citizens, but now it is actually Congress and the people who are represented by them, those people who are lobbyists, the corporations, they own most of us. So if you have a job and you're leveraging your time against money, you're making the person at the top way more money than you're ever going to make. Now, the change came when the big tech companies, because there's Dow Jones, there's NASDAQ, and those are the two major tradings. NASDAQ usually deals with technologies, engineering, ingenuity, things like that, markets that are digital, that kind of stuff. Digital currency is on its own scale, Bitcoin, different cryptocurrencies. They're on their own scale. Well, Dow Jones, the older, deals with hard materials, cars, house products it takes to build, bathtubs, carpets, things that you can actually hold in your hand, hair, textiles, clothes you wear, those kind of things. When the 90s came, though, and the tech boom hit, all of these young kids, like T was saying, all these young kids making these things in the early 2000s, it was the same way in 90s. It was a lot of 20-year-olds, a lot of people who seen it coming, who had the foresight, and they got into these Yahoo, they got into the Googles, you know what I'm saying?
Brother, it was the .com era.
The .com era, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the .com era basically made it to where, because see, they had chat rooms back then, but they didn't have them like this, where you could see people. You had a chat room, you could go in there, you could talk, whatever, but they weren't charging you. Once people figured out how to monetize the internet, that was a whole nother stream. And now people who were never been rich were never supposed to be rich, because they got a rule. This old white man told me this a long time ago. It's the golden rule. He who has the gold rules. And the first rule they made was you ain't supposed to get no damn gold.
Better preach.
However, we started getting gold, started leveraging, started marketing ourselves, started learning about branding after that .com era. You got GoDaddy.com. You got different places that'll host your site, that'll build the site for you. All you got to do is follow raw materials. Then Amazon. Now, Amazon got it to where you can become your own retailer. Instead of going to Kmart, you see Kmart gone, don't exist no more. All of these things that used to be around, Walmart fighting tooth and nail, Target fighting tooth and nail, but you notice those real brick and mortar stores have just started disappearing. They've rebranded them and they become online stores. Now let's get to trading. Trading does actually happen where you can do it overnight too. I know a lot of people don't understand this, but the people who got in, who saw GameStop, who got that stock, once it started going up, the game is to buy cheap, sell high. So if it goes up in 24 hours, 48 hours, you want to sell it before it starts going down. Because once it starts going down, it's going to be cheap. Nobody wants to buy it. You know what I'm saying? They're going to wait until you lose all your money. And that's the game, like you were saying. They're going to wait until it ain't worth nothing. Now they going to go buy it again and make it worth something again. But now you're no longer a millionaire because you've lost all your money in a market that they froze on purpose to leverage against you. Now, we remember Black Wall Street, but what people don't remember about Black Wall Street is Black Wall Street had the best trading system ever produced in the United States of America. That's why they really wanted to get rid of Black Wall Street, because those black folks was making too much money. They had their own trade agreements with Iran. They had their own trade agreements with France. They had their own trade. They weren't trading through the United States stock market. They had their own market. Once you create your own market, that's a problem. Like Bitcoin's basically created its own market. The market closes, okay, on the East Coast, right? But if you have, let's say, Acorn. Acorn's a very good app because you can take Acorn, link it to one of your cards. As you use the card, if you have $1, it'll round up for you and it'll invest that money. A Roth IRA is pretty good as well. But what a lot of people don't know is if you get your child or life insurance right now while they're a baby, when they get to a certain age, they can actually take that money out of that life insurance because they outlived the expectancy of the policy. This is stuff rich people, they don't talk about it. Now, if you're making real money and you don't want to pay taxes, you put your money in an escrow account. You allow your children to be on the escrow account. You make somebody a manager. You can get money out that escrow account a certain amount of year and never pay taxes on that money. That's how rich people do it. You can put your money in offshores and all of that. But see, the stock market, if it goes up, once it goes up, you want to sell as soon as you know before it hit its top high, because then people don't want to buy it no more. Once you sell, you're rich.
Let me stop you real quick. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
So with the guys who first were on Reddit, who got this whole thing going, do you believe that they sold already? That was the whole game? That everybody hyped up, go in and buy. They've all sold. And now we're all running in after the fact, like, oh, let me go ahead and buy it. It's $100 a share. But they made their money, they long gone. Am I right?
So, yeah, exactly. So what they would do is they wouldn't sell all their shares.
Right.
Because if they sell them all together, That's why the stock got held. That's why they're being investigated now, because they said that's called insider trading.
Mm-hmm.
You're legally not supposed to get together and trade like that. They don't want you manipulating the market like that, because that's when the market becomes unvolatile, when people don't trust your market. See, I invest in Asian markets, I invest in European markets, I invest in United States markets. There's different markets, and they're open at different times because daytime is different over in Asia than it is here. But you leverage that. So they sell a portion of their stock. So say they'll sell 75, 85% of the stocks. They're still mega rich. But if those stocks keep going up, now they're getting even more money. Some of them stocks they'll hold on to just to lose a little money because they're already cashed out the big money. You know, they say he only got 18 million. Yeah, because he left the rest of that money in the stock market. He still got that 25 million. It's just he left the rest of that
He trying
money
to
in the
add
stock
like
market.
you want sympathy, and I'm like, bro, I know you got something now.
Of course. Of course. So if y'all really want to invest, I would tell you to do this first. Great places to go are credit unions. Banks, they're a dying entity because they really don't give you the flexibility you need. They don't give you the leg up. They give you these high-ass interest rates. They try to bash you up against the head. They really don't want you to leverage your credit. If you open a credit card, if you have bad credit right now, get your secure credit card, put you a couple $100 on there. Don't use no more than 30% of it, because they're going to report every Friday of the first of the month. They report to the credit bureaus, all three of them. So you want to have only 30% of your credit used, so you can leverage all of that. So say you got $1,000, credit. You only want to use $900, $800. You want like $800 to $900 left on that credit card. So when they report to the credit bureau, that's how much credit you're leveraging. That's how much money. But you want to, buy you some gas, buy some groceries, whatever. Pay it down to $1. Never pay it totally off, because that's actually bad for your credit when you pay it all the way off. They want you to have debt. You're leveraging debt against money that actually has nothing back against it. That's why I started with saying the dollar actually is not backed by gold, not backed by hard currency. So if you really want to make money, you buy hard currency. You buy collectible coins. You buy collectible comic books. You buy collectible things, cars. That's why you see white folks got these collectible cars, collectible coins. They got diamonds. These things are called hard assets. They're tangible, and they actually incur interest over time. And if you secure them, so say you have a house, you got insurance in your house. When you first buy that house, it goes up in value or whatever, right? You buy it at $120,000, it go up 5-10 years, it's $320,000, but that house burns down. Guess what? They're going to pay you that for that $320,000 house. They're not going to pay you $120,000 for what you bought it for, because it's incurred in value. Same thing with certain vehicles. When you buy a vehicle, you drive it off the lot, it's already lost its value. But if you drive like a Bentley, or if you drive certain cars, they hold their value. Lexuses, Mercedes, certain cars hold their value. But you got to remember what class of car. Because if you just got a 200, a little 300, it ain't nothing. If it don't say 500 on it, it don't hold its value, baby.
Trust me, I know.
I'm just saying. So remember, my last thing I'm going to leave y'all with, there's an app called Acorn. Acorn allows you to put $5, $10 or whatever. The reason why I stopped dealing with Robinhood is because Robinhood charges you monthly fees, plus they want a percentage. They're making hand over fist. Cash App, like the sister said, they allow you to buy Bitcoin, they allow you to buy stocks, but they charge you a percentage. So if you put $10 in there, it's only going to be $9 and some odd cent, because they're taking a 20% or something. They're taking some percentage right off the top for when you buy the stock. Now, when you cash out, they take nothing. So that's cool. Just remember, they're taking a percentage. Acorn does pretty much the same thing. However, like I said, you can put monthly $10, and Acorn gives you a perspective. It'll tell you by putting how much money you're putting in per month, at what age, how much money you will have. So it helps you money manage. Then if you use your card, it'll round your card up. So you say you buy a coffee, it's 89 cents. It'll take, or just let's say 80 cents. It'll take the 20 cents and it'll round that up, and it'll take the 20 cents and it'll invest it for you. Or it'll put it into a Roth IRA. you know, or whatever portfolio, because you can actually choose, do you want to be risky with your trades? Do you want to safe? You know what I'm saying? Or do you want to do dollar trades or whatever? Because, okay, so there's stock you buy, you hold. GE ain't going nowhere. The train companies ain't going nowhere. Telephone companies, they ain't going nowhere. These are stocks, you know, even if AT&T go down right now, AT&T gonna bounce back. It's the largest communicator in the whole world. They're gonna bounce back. It needs to fluctuate a little bit. Tesla, you know, Elon Musk is ingenuitive. He's got bright ideas. He's about to open. Now, this is a free game for y'all. Tesla's about to do this now. They're about to open up a plant in India. Now, you know, India got everything. You call somebody right now, call the bank right now to be, hello, my name is Jerome. I am here to help you, and I am in Texas. No, you're not, Habib. You is not Jerome, and you're not in Texas. So stop lying to me. But anyway, I digress. So they're about to open up a factory over there, and that's going to triple, quadruple, because they're going to be in the Asian market, which is a hard market to get into. But India's technically Asia. So now they'll be able to ship things to Japan. They'll be able to ship things right there to you. It'll be so much easier. And Tesla is booming right now. It's got the best, one of the best electric cars. It's a great stock to buy, and it's constantly going up. I'm getting dividends from Tesla, and most places don't pay out dividends like that no more. And that's what you get when you hold a stock for so long. You get guaranteed money, and it goes into your account. But other than that, if y'all want some more stock game, you know what? I'm your boy. Holla at me, because I'm about that life. Hey, black people. Yep, you're welcome. Tea sippers, have a good one.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Wow, he gave a lot of information, a wealth of info. So that was awesome. Like, I was really happy to hear that. Everybody's thanking him in the chat. Yeah, he was speaking a lot of truth. I hope y'all took some notes. Let me go ahead and bring on Massam. Want to go ahead and unmute your microphone?
Hi, T. Hi, everybody.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
So I guess the one thing that I just wanted to like touch on or talk about was like, we shouldn't let I saw a lot of people in the Discord just being like, you know, like they're confused, they don't know what's going on, and should they have been investing and all of that. And like, I want people to realize that if you don't understand trading and stocks and everything like that, it's okay, because there's like so many other ways for you to like gather generational wealth, right? I don't understand a lot of like the numbers, like, stats. I just get so confused. So like when I had my son, he's 8 now, I got a financial advisor because I was like, I need to figure something out. And at the time I was going through like a really rough time. His father had literally just like cleaned me out. So I had saved, I had my son at 27 and I was doing good. And by that time I had like $30,000 saved, and he literally cleaned me out. I had $0. I was working for the bank. Checks was bouncing all over the place, all kinds of craziness. So when I had my son, I was literally broke. And I went to go look for like, they were giving like, there's a lot of free literacy and like YMCA at the time, all these places. So I found someone, and the person literally was like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna get life insurance for your child. It's just literally what he said, and was like, it's gonna be for this amount of years. And when he turns 18, he would have outlived whatever that policy is, and then he'll be able to cash out on that. And then he was like, whatever it is you get, you can start a trust. I don't think a lot of Black people realize that if you own a home, you can literally, like, as soon as you buy your house, you can create a trust and put your children's names on it. So if something were to happen to you, then they don't have to go through probate and all that stuff. That's really what a trust fund baby is. And everybody thinks that you need to like wait to have all this money. No, you can create a trust right now. If you have your little condo or whatever it is, their attorneys, it costs maybe $2,000-$3,000, and a lot of them you can pay in installments, and you can create a trust for your children. If you have a house, if you have a car, if you have land, all of those things, you don't have to wait for so long. So I got life insurance. He has life insurance. And then I opened up an IRA. I was literally putting the smallest little bits. And every time I had more money or whatever, because I'm an independent contractor, I've been working for myself for the past like 8 years. So when I have a big contract, I take out a bigger chunk and put the money towards that. So yeah, I don't have a lot in the stock market, but my son already has like wealth. When I went to open him an account in the bank, I opened an account and put his name on it. And then I took out a credit card and added his name to it. So now he has good credit, because this whole time when I go swipe for gas, swipe for food or whatever, and I pay, his name is attached to it now. So when he turns 18, he's going to have an amazing credit score.
Right.
So some of us, yeah, we don't understand it and we may not be able to do stock market, but I just feel like don't let people shame you into thinking that that's the only way. Because I've seen a lot of the memes and like, oh, what are you guys doing? You should have been doing it while I'm trading stocks. You're whatever. Nah, there's so many ways that you can make money and all that stuff. And then the other thing too, what I watched my friend, a good friend of mine, her father passed away from COVID, like in like May, right? He had life insurance, so she got money from that. And what she did was she hired a financial advisor, and they took a chunk out of that and invested in different stocks and stuff like that. And she's just been learning. And then she was like, she follows key people, right? So she's like, I don't really know or like Elon Musk like that. But she was like, Elon Musk manipulates the stock market all the time, because she told me she was in one of those Reddit groups and she had bought GameStop. And then she told me, she was like, I think something is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think people realize Elon Musk is not allowed to say things. So when he tweets, people pay attention to what he tweets. Right. He had gone on Twitter and tweeted, oh, I really love Etsy. He was like, oh, well, he said Etsy.
He didn't have lunch today.
You know, so then she said it. She was like, she had a bunch of like GameStop, whatever, and she saw the chatter. So she sold some and kept some. She was one of the people who made a good amount of money just by watching and paying attention to Elon Musk, because he went into one of the Reddit groups and was like GameStonk, because he cannot legally say GameStop. And I don't know if people know, stonk is a word that they use in all of these chats and stuff like that for stock. So when he said GameStonk, people who were paying attention were like, oh, okay, here we go. So, I mean, there's ways for you to just like, for us to just like, to stay on point and not feel bad that we're missing. Like, I know I saw people talk about FOMO. You can get FOMO and it can be very overwhelming, but literally there's so many resources out there for us. We're not everybody, we're not going to all be able to stockpile wealth, but we can do tiny little things, because I know if something were to happen to me, at least I know that my son will have something, because I've been literally putting aside for him since he was born. And it's never too late to start. If you have a house, get an attorney and create a trust. Get an IRA, like T said. There are things that we can do, and we don't need to be. It's scary, but we don't have to be mortified and petrified, because there's other ways, and people are giving out this knowledge freely. If you go, I'm not gonna lie, I Google and I look up all these like tech people and whatever, and I follow their Reddits and I follow their Twitters. Like, I'm on Twitter and I don't really follow, like, I get all my tea from Lovely Tea. If I'm on Twitter, I'm following all these like tech people and whatever, because they're over there saying a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, I'm from Cameroon. Somebody asked where I'm from. I live in Connecticut, but I'm from Cameroon. They're saying a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm telling you guys, find all the tech people, all these, even because everybody was shook. Ted Cruz and Trump Jr. were shook because they couldn't even access their funds. So they're not in a 1% either. So if Trump Jr. is freaking out, you know what I mean? We really need to start thinking about it like more like, and also we're all talking about like, oh, they're moving money, they're moving this. We also have to remember that at some point, currency is not going to be currency the way we know it. So wealth also is in what you know. Like I grow a lot of my own food because at some point, whether people believe it or not, that's going to become something that people are going to need. Like there's very little that I do not know how to grow because I'm like, how am I going to feed my family? Like say the banks don't give us access to our money anymore. How are we going to buy food? Do we know how to like dig up the well, like a well to get water? Sometimes I feel like I sound crazy, but that's the truth. Like we need to look at the stock market and pay attention, but we also need to take from all of these apocalypse movies that we've been watching. At the end of the day, if we were to revert into that kind of society, money is not going to help you. How are you going to survive? So I just want to encourage everybody to not feel all the FOMO and to not feel like, oh, I don't know what's going on. And no, there's so many ways. And I feel like T's Discord is literally, there's so much wealth of knowledge in there. Like I go in the Discord and I'm like, what is this? What are they talking about here? Blah, 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 blah. All of that. So, I mean, I'll be on there. I some jokes, but you know, I'm somebody who's always ready to help. This past summer, I did an initiative where we taught over 300 inner city kids how to farm. My mom's an agronomist, so her PhD is in agriculture. So it's very like important to me that people know how to farm, how to get resources. I'm squirmish, but if I have to hunt something, kill it to eat it, I know the whole process from beginning to end. We need to start making sure that we know how to do all these things, because at some point, currency is not going to be currency the way we think it is. We won't even, what if they shut down everything and we have no access to Instagram and all these things, then what? You know what I mean? So just, that's it. Be encouraged. Don't use the resources you have now. Don't be scared because people are like, you know, because I'm seeing a lot of the memes talking about them, oh, well, people are rich now and you guys should have been trading. Well, everybody can trade. Everybody doesn't have the knowledge to trade, and people have so many situations happening. Everybody doesn't have, like you said, T, everybody doesn't have $3,000 just chilling to be able to let it sit in the stock market to let it grow.
Right.
Even Forex. I have a lot of friends who got really rich off of Forex, but they're on that thing 24/7, looking, trading, this, that, you know, it's hard and everybody's not built for that.
Right.
So that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for the wealth of information. I appreciate it, sis. All right. Let me go ahead and bring on Dania. I know she had her hand up for a while. Dania.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Hi, everybody. I'm Danya.
Oh, Danya. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
So I love the whole stock market talk that we're doing right now. I got into the stock market like around last year, around the summertime, when you were like heavy talking about the pandemic. And my cousin had just got into it like really, really heavy. And he was trying to put me on into it, but I didn't understand the language. And he was like, you know, going heavy talking about it. But I'm just like, okay. And I was also working at a I was working at CVS, sorry. And I was seeing how like the stock market and, you know, the pharmaceutical companies were like just getting really, really big, and the whole, you know, vaccine thing was like correlating. So I started doing my research, and, you know, getting into the stock market definitely isn't that hard, but I definitely, what the girl previously to me just said, there are definitely other ways of making, you know, having, you know, generational wealth. but the stock market is it's a tricky language to learn, but I love it. I love everything about it. I was able to put a retainer on my attorney because of the stock market for me and my brother when we were going through some things with my family. But it's just all about learning and like just seeing what's really out there, you know.
Right.
But
And that's why I always tell people, don't just depend on random people on social media.
Definitely.
Or just get your information from one source. You also have to know what you can afford to give, what you can afford to let sit, you know, and understand patience. It's not overnight. It's all
definitely. And YouTube definitely taught me. And you know, you can go to one person, the next person, and try to understand the language, but you definitely have to learn it yourself. Like you just have to take an hour or two out your day to really learn the terms and, you know, terminology of certain things and how, you know, everything kind of just runs off of a trend. You know, Elon Musk can post one thing and then it'll go up. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump can say one thing, it'll go up. So it just kind of fluctuates. And what goes up must come down.
Right.
So it's just kind of like, you know, seeing everything go up, up, up. Eventually, all that stuff is just going to come trickling down sooner or later.
Right. And then it also goes back to what people put their attention towards. If you can sit here and learn every TikTok challenge, bust it down challenge, and Savage, those are not easy dances to learn. Take it from me. You know what I'm saying? Like they're very complicated. They might be not complicated if you're a dancer, but if you don't know how to dance, you got to keep rewinding the video. And I mean, it took me a long time to learn that damn dance. So if I can take time out my day to just like learn this because I really want to do it for TikTok, it's the same thing. Whatever you want to learn, whatever you feel may benefit you, you have to put time and energy into it. You just have to. So that's the thing, you know, you have to be able to go in and do searches on, you know, penny stock, the NASDAQ. Yes, it may be boring, but it is what it is. If that's what you really want to do.
If that's what really interests you.
Right.
Exactly.
Then you just have to do that, you know, and even like, I've been switching up my content the past 2 days because I've been talking about tech. And people are always shocked that I know as much as what's going on in the tech world.
Yup.
Well, I don't talk about it because most of the time, most people are not interested. You know what I mean? It's like y'all, everybody, every DM today is Tiny and T.I. So, you know what I mean? I'm talking about what's trending, right? So that's always trending. But I say that to say, just because the celebrity news is trending or, you know, this is trending, always make sure to keep your eye on the big picture because when it's all said and done, you know what I'm saying? That's what's going to help you is what's going on in the tech world because that stuff, again, imagine for all the small business owners that follow me and follow other influencers and they had no idea this apocalypse was coming. Well, they just found out from my podcast because a lot of people didn't know that those privacy concerns that Apple is now turning on, it's going to affect how these ads run and how they track you and how they're able to bring businesses to you. So these are things that are affecting real people. And that's why I tell folks, you have to pay attention to everything, not just one thing, but everything that's going on. You know, pay attention to, especially a lot of these big name people, a lot of these, you know, tech monopolies, because right now they're getting a lot of scrutiny. So you got to pay attention.
Yep. And I've tried to, but my brother, I got him into it. I got my younger sister into it because like a lot of people were saying before, they don't teach you this in school. You don't learn about an IRA, financial advisor. Like you literally learn this as you are going through life, like growing up. My mother, she's Haitian. She was not talking about none of this stuff. I'm like, girl, you like, and knowing that she's had to file for bankruptcy for her house. Like if she knew what she knows now, I feel like, you know, there are many ways of, you know, not having that financial burden of being a single mother. You know, there's money out there to be made. It's just always just doing the research and trying to find it yourself, you know? So I've been trying to like, my brother and my sister, we love you to death. Oh. And with everything going on, I'm like, yo, I'm putting them on to everything, especially the stock market. So it's a big thing. I love seeing a lot of young people my age and of course older, like talking about the stock market because it's not a big conversation, but when I do, you don't have to go putting all your expenses, everything you own into the stock market. You just put as little, like you said, as $5 in a Robinhood, Acorn, and just let it sit there. If you're just a long-term investor, if you're a short-term investor, you can invest in the things that, you know, will profit you in the long end. Target, other EV companies aside from Tesla. There's so many up and coming, so many things. Weed. I'm in school right now to become a grower, and I'm investing into the weed market too. So it is definitely a plus, and of course a minus to everything. It's a risk, period, out here. We living in a pandemic, so it's just kind of like the stock market. It's not that bad. And I was seeing that on the news this morning on the talk, and they were just like, it's really, really risky. Yeah, going outside is really, really risky too with COVID. So
like those media, of course they're gonna say that. Because, they got the eye of the people.
Yeah.
So we're going to tell you it's risky. Meanwhile, the ladies on the top, they probably got all types of
got a couple stocks too.
Right. But again, it was never meant for regular people to get rich. You got to know.
Yep. Well, thank you. Bye, everybody.
Yes,
Nice talking to y'all.
Thanks for calling in, sis. Let me go ahead and bring in Starford Nolan. Sorry if I mispronounced it.
Star-Lord.
Oh, Star-Lord. I feel like
Team Marvel. What's up, T?
Star-Lord Nolan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I got this 1993 Storm action figure, Team Marvel.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
All right, yeah. Anyway, I knew you were Team Marvel, so anyway. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, good. We've been talking a lot about like tips and just how, people, plans and stuff. And I guess mostly with mostly why I come to Discord is because I know that like there's people that are, like empathic, and there's people that have their tin hat tingling, And so when I got on Twitter today, it was like greed was trending. Did you see that? I don't know if you saw that, but the number one trending topic was greed. And I was just like, shit, like what have we keep on going through like these what are those 7 deadly sins? It's like we've been going through all of these different trials and tribulations, and today we're getting hit with greed, and we're seeing people's true colors come out because I invested in the stock market, and like I didn't invest like in the stuff going on, but it just kind of made me question. I was just like, am I being greedy? Like what, like ever since COVID and like everything going on this year, it just kind of makes me question my motives and my spirit, and kind of, and that's what I had to do today. I don't know if that's, was on your mind, but I know that there's like a lot of talk about that, like, are we just being tested over and over? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. But I think part of it, it's easy to say that it's greed, but what also like makes me sad with it, it's also survival. People trying to find new ways to survive.
Yeah.
And that's the part that nobody's looking at, is that, you have this small percentage of people who are so desperate to hold on to power, and they don't want to share it. And then you have this renegade people who are like, no, we're about to start shifting things. But the only reason why they even came to that conclusion is because of the situation that COVID-19 put everybody in. And that's why I know some people get mad when I call it a pandemic. I don't say it to minimize the people who have died. I don't say it to say that the disease is not real. That's not why I call it a pandemic. The reason why I call that a pandemic is because this pandemic ushered in a bunch of new plans. And when you look at the people who have been able to benefit off of this, it's very interesting. They closed down church for I don't know how long, but the liquor stores were open. You know what I mean? Like, let's keep that real. They closed down a lot of stuff. The farmers markets were shut down, but Walmart was okay. They had where all the restaurants were shut down, but it's okay because Uber Eats is available. So it's just like a lot of people got rich during this time. They just did. So it gave a lot of people who were laid off and who weren't able to just, regularly be on their regular scheduled program of going to work every day, going through this little monotony, it gave them a chance to start thinking and to start thinking outside the box. And I just, even though there is that greed aspect of it, I'm not saying that these Redditors weren't greedy. Obviously, they did it for that reason, to make money, right?
Yeah.
So we can't deny that. But I feel like the main greed is coming from the people at the top who are now running to try and create new legislations, new laws, to try and ban this type of talk. Well, why is it an issue now when people on your side, these hedge fund guys have been doing this since the beginning of the stock market, but now this needs to be regulated. So it's just really sad, like, where it's spiraling to.
Yeah, and I guess that was kind of like what I wanted to talk about, is just like I keep on seeing like all of this over and over, just these trending topics where we barely just got over this insurrection, and some of us are still suffering from like being sick, and some of us are still like really still hurt about the murders, and so we're just constantly being bombarded. And it just seems like this year, like everything was going okay, and then suddenly COVID happens, and it just seems like all of these things coming out of the woodwork. Does that make sense? And so I know I'm amongst like minds, and so that's why I was just like, I got to say something, and I just wanted to say hi to you. I've been following you for a while, so.
No, that's dope, and that's one thing I love about the Discord, is because it is around like mind. Like, I mean, people are so mad at me because they're like, they want to get in, they want a link. Yeah. I can't wait till February, and I'm just only personally handing out links to specific people. I do not want the energy of the Discord changing at all. So I don't want you guys to worry about that or think that, come February 1st is about to be a free for all. There's going to be, 5,000 people in here. Absolutely not. I like the vibe of the Discord. I love that anytime I go into a room, there's some information. I click on a video, it takes me to to another video. Like, you can literally end up in a whole rabbit hole just traveling through the Discord. And I love it because it's all needed information. I'd rather be in a rabbit hole of information than in a rabbit hole of just, celebrity nonsense and who's dating who and who wore what to wear, And I think a lot of people are tired of that now, and they're looking for stuff of more substance, and it's crazy that it's 2021, but I feel like this is nothing but an extension of 2020.
Yeah, same.
It doesn't feel like 2021 to me. I just feel like it's still 2020, just another extension. And I don't know if you've heard yet on the Discord, but now it's being implemented that they are going to make it where if you're flying domestically, they don't care if you're flying from New York to Virginia, you will not have to show a vaccine card. So that is being implemented by the airlines now. So it's just like one thing after another. And like you said, we haven't even been able to get over just what happened this summer with the riots in different cities. I still suffer from PTSD with that, as do many people, So we had all of that happen, then the whole drama with the elections, and then the insurrection, and then now you have this whole stock thing. And for me as a person on social media, what always scares me is that I know what comes behind this is censorship. The inmates have taken the guard's key. We need to show them who's boss. So they're gonna start trying to take down places like different Discord rooms and Reddit and stuff like that. And that's why I've been telling people, be careful what you celebrate and put your energy towards, because it was fun 2 weeks ago for a lot of people when Trump and all his cronies, were getting banned and kicked off. But now they just got rid of a whole subreddit group. They just got rid of a whole Discord. But y'all were cheering when it was Parler. So we got to watch the energy that we put out there, because that energy always has a way of manifesting into something else that you weren't expecting yourself.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for everything, and I hope you feel better.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, thank you.
So let me go ahead and bring on Tim Rican. Tim Rican, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey T, hey everybody.
Hey, how are you doing? I like the background.
Yeah, gotta still rock Bernie. First of all, King Satchel and the girl from Connecticut, awesome advice. Awesome advice. Kudos to the both of you. I'm an anti-money laundering analyst. I've been doing it for over 2 years for UBS. A lot of the information that they gave is spot on, absolutely correct. I look at rich people's accounts 5 days a week. And yeah, like these rich people, they got them in trusts. A lot of their money's offshore. British Virgin Islands, Panama, Bahamas. There could be up to like 2,000 businesses under one address in the BVI alone.
Wow.
Like
That's that way they're not having to pay taxes.
exactly. So it's like, and financially, I'm somebody that is like novice, but I have a criminal justice background, and back in like 2005, I also was an investigator for Child Protective Services in New Jersey. So it's like everything up plus me working in Verizon. It's like right now my job is like the best of all those worlds, because with the technology function, the investigation function, and stuff like that, it's like I was a surprising shoe-in for it. And I love the work because it's like no two cases are alike. Like, you know, so the first thing I'm gonna tell you guys is there's a thing. So like we're doing these insider trading and all that stuff. The SEC opens up an investigation. There's also many other financial government organizations. And if they find that you've done fuckery, for lack of a better word, the bank could send you, like, could investigate you and put you on that SAR. And basically, like, it's not just you. Anybody who's closely related to you now is now under a microscope and stuff like that. It makes it a lot harder for you to get funds and different things like that.
Okay, do me a favor. Can you repeat that? Because somebody had came in and it interrupted you. Now, who's going to do this and when and how can that happen?
Okay, so my job, right? If we get what's called an alert. Okay. So when you do some certain things on your bank account, like you ever notice, like if let's say you have TD Bank and TD Bank will send you a notification, hey, did you buy this $500 TV set from Walmart? Just confirming. That's an automated alert in the system. So each bank has like a specific set of rules. So like, for instance, even if I don't know if you know about the $10,000 rule. Mm-hmm. If you
10,000 in cash.
Yeah, or like whether you write 2 checks and you're trying to cash them and they equal $10,000 in that day, they have to file a specific report for that. Well, there are people that, of course, try to game the system and will always try to take out under $10,000. The banks know that. The banks have a rule. And my job is to look to see if you're doing what's called structuring. So, like, you never know what you're doing, that your name pops up and then someone in my position is looking at it, is the point. But if you do some type of fuckery, it gets invested. Like I'm like the first line of defense in that. I notice something suspicious, I'll send a request to the branch. The branch will they have 10 days to answer me. If they don't answer me or their response is not sufficient, I recommend it for an investigation. Then an investigator looks at it, and if they find that yes, you are doing fuckery, some type of money laundering, structuring, excessive cash withdrawals, especially in an investment bank, you get filed what's called a suspicious activity report. Suspicious activity report gets sent to all the banks, and your name is on it, and also your parents' name will also be connected with it, because it's like, oh, hey, this person's mom is related to this person that committed money laundering. So even though they didn't commit the crime, they're now linked and like, okay, we got to look at you. And now we're looking at your account and stuff like that. And even though they may not cancel your account's always looked at in the back end now. Like people who are related to a politician, that's also another special code. It's called politically exposed persons. So let's say you were the sister of Bernie Sanders. You're now considered a PEP. And now when you do certain transactions as a PEP, it's looked at with a fine-tooth comb, because basically they want to make sure that you're not talking with somebody or doing something weird like, oh, hey, I'm a lobbyist, let me give you money to get. Now, if you're a PEP and in what they call a sensitive country like Mexico, now it's a double whammy where like, I really got to look at your account and make sure that nothing weird is going on and stuff like that. So, you know, all these people that are doing this GameStop stuff. And while I'm enjoying every minute of it, I'm also sitting back and looking, because my concern is with us knowing how the powers that be work and how the Federal Reserve is its own entity in and of itself. They can make up any rule they want. And I wouldn't be surprised if the people that started this end up getting SARS. And now, usually when you get a SAR, sometimes it's like 5 years you're in the system, or it can lead up to what they call an unwanted banking relationship, or UBR. And basically those are the people that cannot have a bank account in the United States. And usually it ends up being more than the United States. Any non-sensitive country, so like United Kingdom, Ireland, Switzerland, like, you know, the companies that have the countries that have really good finances.
So do you believe, looking at everything, you know, from the outside looking in with your expert eye, do you believe that there might have been some of that going on with the GameStop people in Reddit? You know, like because like I said, we don't know who these people are. You know, they just popped up and started encouraging people to start putting money. So, you know, could be some people, you know, who are from these hedge funds, maybe to get back at another, you know, hedge fund, and we wouldn't really know as the people.
It's very possible. Here's what I'm theorizing is going to happen, because Janet Yellen and everybody already got eyes on this. There's definitely going to be an investigation. There, the people that normally do this stuff have way too much power and money. I personally, some of the accounts I've overlooked are certain hedge funds, not necessarily the people that are involved in this, but just in general. And yeah, they got money. They got long money that we wish we could dream of. Some of these hedge funds like that, you know. Buddy, certainly our last president wish he had. So, like, they got power behind that money, like on top of that. So they're definitely going to do something to get these rules changed. So this is like an enjoy it while it lasts type situation. And what I have a feeling is there's always patsies. So I have a feeling they're going to choose the right individuals to blame this whole situation for. And probably going to see a bunch of rule changes and stuff like that. So it's like right now, everyone, all the banks, anybody who's in financial anything right now is paying real close attention, because we're all curious to see what happens. Like, will Wall Street finally be regulated, or is it just going to be regulated for social media?
Right.
You know, as I can see them trying to pull that stunt, because they, you know, they still want to do it. They just don't want us to do it.
Yeah,
So
no, there's two sides. Well, thank you so much for the wealth of information, Tinfoil Rican. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, let me go ahead and bring on Road S. Go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hey, T.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Hey, Discord. I love what everyone had to say. Regarding your question on the stock market situation, I saw it trending on my phone. I'm a big YouTuber person, so I kind of go all over to try to see what the sentiment is, you know, in different areas. And I saw it. The thing is, when I saw it, I just rolled my eyes, because I knew it was some mess that was gonna come behind it before everything like got really bad. I saw the buildup, and then I saw all the reaction, like stuff. I didn't even look at it. I was just like, for me, I guess it was like a overwhelming thing with what I had going on that day. So I was like, something's going on. I'm gonna see what it is. And I saw the Discord was going. I was like, I don't have time to look right now. But when I saw your video or your podcast thing last night, I was like, oh, you know, I started seeing like something was gonna come down the pipeline with it. So I kind of figured you were gonna speak on the situation. But I think this whole thing with the financial sector, like you said, it's an extension of 2020. Like, it seems like everything in that year, it's like every area that we frequent, every area that we have given attention to, whether it's the celebrities, whether it's the online communities, like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, like all of these areas, our politicians, our political system, every area is just being exposed, and all of the issues that are in each area is just out here because people have this heightened attention. And I don't know if it's because we're in the house. I kind of feel like it's a thing that's been in the making for a long time. earlier on, like when I don't know how long I had been following up until 2017, but I remember when the adpocalypse thing happened, and you weren't the only person complaining about it, because I spent a lot of time like in different just spaces. I get lost in the rabbit hole of YouTube all the time. So I saw in the pro-Black spaces where they were complaining about, you know, the algorithm doing them a kind of way. I saw in the at the time the Proud Boys. I don't think they were the Proud Boys yet. They were under the boy from Canada. But I saw in their spaces where they were talking about feeling censored and, you know, feeling away. Then I saw, you know, the feminist groups, they were feeling like everyone was kind of saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. And another thing I noticed, kind of like a little bit after that, you know, when you kind of got your rhythm and you switched over to Patreon and stuff, and I saw other people on YouTube doing the same thing, you know, to try to compensate for that ad situation. I started seeing that the algorithm did change, because at one point you were growing at a pretty steady rate. And the only reason I noticed for sure is because I follow someone who is similar to you in the political space. His name is Kyle. He's like Secular Talk. You guys, your platforms are pretty much about the same as far as like membership and subscriptions. And you guys were like, especially around for his channel, obviously during the elections, like 2016 and all of that, you can see like there's more eyes on his channel, obviously, because there's a contest going on. But I noticed you guys, y'all were at a steady pace to the point where even for your subscribers, we're like, oh, she's gonna hit 1 million this year. She's gonna hit, you know, and it was the same thing with him, but I had seen your channel was starting to kind of, you know, be a little bit ahead of his. And at some point I started noticing for his channel in particular, I would get more notices for like CNN or, you know, some big people I don't watch, basically big mainstream people. Mm-hmm. Right. And then for your channel, I started noticing, and this is a little bit later, like after that, I would start noticing for yours, I might get Fox Soul. Then of course it was other, you know, people who were talking on some of the channels, which I didn't mind because they were smaller, but then I would see like the big people, like the Breakfast Club or Wendy Williams. And it was like, I don't watch these people. Like, why am I being suggested, you know, certain things that are not my normal? So I definitely noticed that it's definitely been a change up. And I think for what's going on now with the financial market, I think, like you said, it's because the regular people are getting the ball now. They're finding ways around that olden system. And now they're having to figure out what to do. Just like how the celebrities are crowding into the YouTuber space, the fan only people, like these spaces where you guys have found an alternative to make money, to build your own fan base, to not, how you say, hop on peen. Like, I think they're upset by that because you guys don't have to go the conventional route to basically get to the same end. And it's opening the eyes of regular people. Like when you were talking about how we weren't taught to do things a certain way in school. And, you know, I had a conversation all the time with my friends, like how, for instance, when we were in school, we had, in the Atlanta area, we had the academies in our schools. So I was in the business and entrepreneurship academy. And it wasn't until I left. Now I'm going into my late 20s now. So I haven't been gone that long, but it's only now, you know, that I'm out, I'm starting to learn more. I'm out in all of these different spaces online, reading things for myself, that I'm realizing, wow, I was in the business entrepreneurship program, but they were teaching me how to get a job. Like they didn't teach me how to build a business plan, but they were teaching me to do a resume. They were talking about, you know, entrepreneur stuff or like, you know, risk, you know, like how risk works with entrepreneurships, but they didn't explain interest rates, you know, how home ownership application works, you know, like you don't really get real education in school. And I realized that when I was in school, but I still didn't know what to look for because I hadn't really lived any life to know, you know what I mean?
Right.
They taught us how to do checks and bounce a checkbook, but the only thing out of that particular space, that class, was it was good to learn how to write a check because I knew how to read them when I got them, but I never have had to balance a checkbook. I would have been better off if you showing me how to invest my money, what interest rates mean, being that a lot of us were going to college, having to know what loans were. Fortunately, I didn't have to deal with that in my graduate education, but it's just a lot of areas that I'm noticing, like, even though I was a good student, right, I was also being taught to be a good worker. Mm-hmm. And I'm really good at that. I know how to dress well for school, for work. I know how to get there on time. I know how to be obedient. But you have a lot of people, and this is no shade or anything, or, oh, I'm jealous, nothing like that. But I do understand that some people who were a little bit more out of the box, a little bit more free thinking, maybe not the most disciplined people when I was in high school, they're at a greater advantage than me because they were able to in some areas, you know, of course they have their challenges, but they were able to take advantage of the wave of social media when it was coming and to try to do things when it was early 2010, when I was, you know, just trying to follow the rules, because this is how you get into college, this is how you get a good job, this is how you do great. And so now, I mean, I'm just so grateful like that everything is being exposed. Like now, even during the pandemic and everything, it was a scary time, but for me, it was a time to reset. And, you know, I love what people were saying about just investing, but also just remember, guys, like it's important to invest in yourself. Like during the pandemic, I was able to really pay attention to, like, before you even get to investing, making sure I have enough in case, you know, I lose my job. I didn't lose my job, but making sure I have my emergency fund. Like I had one before the pandemic, but then I was like, oh, maybe 3 to 6 months is not good. Maybe let's try to do it a year. Making sure, you know, I have certain skill set, working on new skill sets while I'm just kind of at home more, you know, teleworking. So it's a lot that goes with everything and you feel overwhelmed, but I definitely like the preppers, Discord room. I love, obviously I love the politics area, just, you know, paying attention. That's like one of my favorite areas to hang out. But for me, it's just all the way across the board, just making sure that not only don't worry about these people talking about the market is always going to go up and down. Every 7 years we're due for a bust. You know, we have our booms and then we have our busts. We're going to have another one. So that FOMO thing, I'm not worried about that. When it's time for me to buy a house, I buy a house. When it's time for me to invest, I've done small investing, but I haven't done stock market type investing just because I needed that foundation. There's no point in having stocks if I can't make sure my basics are taken care of at home. If I can't make sure I have food in my fridge, if I can't make sure, you know, my car is running well and I have an emergency fund for that. So I think that's the biggest takeaway. And I really enjoyed a lot of the advice on here, and just, you never know who's going to be in here. That's what I love about your audience. Like, you never know like what people's expertise are. And it's just, sometimes it's important just to, like, you know, listen to others. And that's kind of how I got in the YouTube bubble, because so many people, even people you don't agree with, like I said, I was all over there in the manosphere and the what do they call themselves, the red pill boys, the white supremacy areas. Like I was lurking and looking before they became this whole Proud Boy group. And, you know, their grievances with online free speech issues, and some stuff I agree with, but a lot of stuff I didn't. But it's just because you don't agree with somebody or you don't get it doesn't mean you don't listen. You have to be listening. You can't get stuck in your bubble. And that's one thing even though I love teaching, like my main one, I would go and look at all these other people from the black channels, like Black Empowerment. I'll get a little bit over there, and then maybe go down to the femininity channels. Maybe, you know, I try to mix it up to make sure I'm well-rounded and listening to what's really going on, and not getting stuck in my own beliefs. So that's all I wanted to share. I love you.
Love you too. Thank you so much, sis. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a lot of good points being made. It's already 9:15. We're gonna end about 9:30. Somebody in chat was saying, Bhuvan was saying, I want to start my own business, but not everybody is capable of being a business owner, let alone want a business. Somebody else was saying, it's funny how people have LLC, even though they don't have an actual business / business store, and work that system. Didn't know that was a thing. And yeah, that's like we were also saying earlier, you have to know within yourself if it's something that you can do. Again, a lot of people love titles. We've been conditioned to love a good title, honey. I'm the CEO of Cash Money Records. I'm the CFO of Young Money Records. I'm the, you know, and then come to find out, none of these fools own anything, and Birdman ain't paid you, and now you crying and suing. So titles mean nothing. You know, running out and just getting an LLC just to say, you know, I now own, you know, this Pink Bottle LLC. Okay, but are you mass producing it? Do you have a factory? So don't let people hype you up or make you feel bad. Like, you're a worker bee, you're not a boss. Everybody's not meant to necessarily be a boss. That's why the young woman, Masum, was saying earlier, there's so many ways to invest, to get money, to build wealth. Look at other avenues, because being a boss, being your own boss, it is not easy, you know? And even like with what I do, people feel like it's so easy. I run 3 businesses on top of YouTube. So on top of having to research and put content together and do live streams, then the podcast, getting everything scheduled for like just different companies. And then on top of like my skincare line, my tea line, if I get a DM at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning from somebody, matter of fact, 2 people hit me up. They had sent DMs to my tea Instagram page. For some reason, Amazon had mixed up the stickers. So they ordered the wellness and digestion tea, and they both got the strawberry tea. Well, I can't look around and be like, hey, somebody, I gotta get up. I mean, you'll be amazed at how many times I'm up, you know, in between doing stuff and I'm working. So it's not easy. And I think that's the problem, is that you have people who like sell a dream, especially like on social media. I see a lot of these entrepreneur classes, and this is not to knock nobody's hustle, but everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's not meant to run a full-fledged business, and that's okay. Do it if your heart's in it, if you have the money, if you have the resources, if you have, you know, the networking capabilities. If you're an introvert, you may not want to get into marketing and trying to sell stuff. If you don't open your mouth, who's going to know about your product? So you got to know who you are as an individual as well, you know, but never feel guilty because you don't own a business or because you're not what they deem a boss. I know people who work 9 to 5s, but they got all types of, you know, IRAs and stock investments and things like that. So there's other ways to be your own boss without particular titles, you know, so don't forget that as well. Because I see a lot of people are asking, you know, just like different business stuff. Just always know what you can take on, so you don't overly burden yourself or stress yourself out, or make it where you're always looking at, well, what this person is doing or what that person is doing. Focus on what you're doing, focus on your goals, you know, and eventually everything will work out. So let me go ahead and bring on, what is it, Amani94? Amani, if you want to go ahead, and I'm gonna mute your mic. Amani B. Okay, I don't know where she's at. Okay, let me bring on Anastasia Garcia. Anastasia.
Hello.
Anastasia.
Hi. So I want to talk about how, with the whole thing that happened with GameStop and how everyone's like, the whole stock market people and hedge fund people are freaking out. Now I just saw a picture, 2008, the whole housing market crashes, people are homeless and broke. And there's a picture of people protesting because of all the predatory loans and everything that happened. And you see hedge fund and all of these Wall Street people they're on a balcony overlooking the protesting, laughing at them, drinking champagne, cheering for themselves. Because the thing that a lot of people don't know is, when people were foreclosing, apparently looking back on the data, it was on the same rate that people normally foreclosed. A lot of people and Wall Street were the ones messing up and causing the whole housing market bubble, but they were happy because they got bailed out. Everyone didn't really lose that much money, and they were able to shift the blame onto everybody. And that's why seeing them get so upset now because of the GameStop, and it's like, oh, it's a pump and dump, and that's wrong. No one was upset. None of them were upset at the fact that Kelly Loeffler, if she was elected in Georgia, if she won the Senate race, she would have been the richest person in Congress, over $100 million. And when the pandemic happened, she traded her stocks for PPE, for all this stuff. And it's really interesting because it was at the time that you started speaking on COVID, which is before a lot of people knew COVID was serious. So it's kind of just like, we kind of understand that she was insider trading, basically. And then with this GameStop thing, people are saying this is the largest transfer of wealth ever. Like around $20 billion lost from the hedge fund people and Wall Street. They will never let this happen again if they can stop it, because in the video they mentioned, I don't know if everybody caught that, or was it in the video, or I think I saw it, where the new Biden administration treasurer, she gets funded by one of the hedge funds that lost billions of dollars from GameStop, that bet against GameStop. And when they were asking the press secretary about like, oh, is she going to recuse herself because obviously she's going to be biased, they were like, we just know we have the first ever female treasurer and she has a team behind her to make decisions. No one was asking about that. That's a deflection. And now I think people my age, because I'm a senior in high school, it's like we're looking at all of this and it's like a lot of us feel very confused about what we want to do because we are very aware that it's so stacked against us.
Mhm.
And it's like I'm looking at my mom and it's like my mom got a predatory loan in like the early 2000s, like so many people. She said she would cry paying her mortgage because she paid $1,800 a month, and every month the mortgage amount never went down. It all went to interest. And so now it's like she's a nurse, no longer in a predatory loan and in a good loan. But whoever mentioned it, that people are calling for wanting you to buy loans 3-4 times a day. People are calling, refinance, get your car warranty, home loan warranty. Did you want a loan for insurance? It's like, who is getting all this information with our numbers and stuff like that? And looking at her, and it's like she's like working so hard under the idea where it's like, if you work hard, you can do so much. And it's like a lot of people my age don't want to do that. So it's like my friends and I were talking about this. So we all took AP Economics, which is a college level economics class. We were thinking, oh, this is going to help us understand economics so we can, make money. It's nothing about that. Nothing about that. It is about, first you have, the first part is micro, which is about individual businesses. The second part is macro, which is about the entire economy. It is about markets and like supply, demand, things like that. I'm like, none of this applies to real world stuff.
So they're basically still teaching the same thing, like I was earlier 20 years ago, where I didn't really learn anything about finance. You guys,
the kids who learn things about doing checks and financial information, they have to sign up for JORTC, which is like kind of like a program kids are in. It's kind of a military thing.
Oh, that ROTC?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where kids learn how to write checks. If you want to take a class on finances, in order to take that class, you have to be one of the kids who are like failing. Like they don't think you're able to handle regular economics, or let alone AP. You have to be failing. Like really, they just want to get you in and out. Right. So they still have the expectation that your parents are going to tell you about mortgage and stuff, but the mortgages and loans and things and credit. The only time I learned about credit, I had to ask my mom. And when I watched your credit video, a lot of people don't know is if you have a parent or you have a kid, you put their name on a debit card or a credit card, after 2 years, they get your credit score.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't know. And I'm like, that's when my mom was mentioning that to me. She wanted to put my name, and I was like, yeah, fine. And it's just weird where it's like they are selectively not allowing us to get information about this stuff. The way they snatch those Reddits down, that Discord down, it's like they understand that what they're doing is wrong and that they want to consolidate their own power, because when 2008 happened, they were cheering because they knew they won. They were going to be fine. And someone mentioned how it's like it's a boom and a bust, and it's a cycle that we keep allowing where it's like we allow them to have power because we don't know that we can take it back, and they do things. Once we start catching on to the fact that we can take it back, they start restricting, and now they want to regulate. Where was the regulation when the stock market crashed earlier, when COVID happened, and we pumped trillions, if not billions, if not trillions of dollars in there to help it revive it? Now we want to stop that. It doesn't make sense.
But that's how it always is, unfortunately, and even going back to them taking information, that is the same reason why they brought out these fact checkers. The fact checkers that I've been beefing with all summer on Instagram. It's like, who are these fact checkers? And who are you to say that what I'm saying is incorrect and not factual? Where the hell did you come from? Well, I saw a meme earlier today and it says, isn't it funny how there were no fact checkers until people started speaking the truth? And then all of a sudden the truth needed to be fact checked. And that's the part when the truth is out there and it's blatant and it's for everybody to digest it, they can't have that. That's why now they're working so hard to start passing laws to start silencing social media, to start shadow banning people, to stop certain conversations. Because again, if the inmates get knowledge and they get the key to their kingdom, well, then what does the guard have to do? The guard then loses its job. Who's the guard supposed to watch and keep an eye on to make sure that they're still doing what they're supposed to be told? So it's a very crazy system. And I think it's dope that at 18, you're so aware, because I can only imagine you guys being seniors in high school. I have kids here in and out my house that are in high school. And I think for y'all's generation, like, where are y'all going to be? Because like you said, it doesn't, what would motivate me at 18 to want to go to college if I lived in this era?
See, a lot of people my age are striving to more like leftist ideology. So like I make this really dark joke where kids my age, under the idea that, things we've been taught are not the truth, some people became very left, and you see a whole nother group of people become extremely right. Like there's no middle ground when it comes to that. And it's like, under the idea is we don't want to do the things that we're seeing our parents do, because it's like, we're realizing it's like people are working themselves to death.
Yeah.
And it's like increasing Social Security, that's going to run out in like 15 years. Mm-hmm. So then what's going to happen? My mom's sitting here like, am I going to get my money back? Is anybody getting
work to put into the system?
Yeah. And it's like, and this is one question, all of these stimulus checks passed, not stimulus checks, but stimulus bills, trillions of dollars, where is this money coming from?
Right.
Since when did we have $1.9 trillion, $2.9 trillion? And when you look at that bill, the one that passed before the inauguration, that was over nearly 600 pages, we gave $900 billion to countries like Israel, Nepal, Pakistan, Asia, various Asian countries. Who is paying for this? Because when we have actual programs that we need in the country and things that the younger generation wants, like this idea of like, people don't want to go to college because of college debt. So you have money to do this, but not help your own people, like abolish student debt. So people want to go to college and aren't afraid of it anymore. Like, it's crazy.
It is. But thank you so much for your input. You made a lot of really good points. I appreciate you calling in, sis.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Let me go ahead and bring on Pink Nail Polish. Pink Nail Polish, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hey, T.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. I see your nail polish popping.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, I just wanted to comment. I used to really admire the efforts of Bill Gates on an international scale in like public health and sanitation. However, after I did some research and I watched the interview by Dr. Shiva, who is an environmental advocate, I learned that this system is making consumers even more dependent. It's pushing chemicals, GMOs, and patents. And it all brought me back to your podcast where you discuss this sort of smoke and mirrors effect. On one hand, you have an app that's like a leisure, it helps people network, but what? It costs your privacy. It's like everything is under a guise. And man, you made me research so much last night. That podcast was.
Thank you. I'm so glad. That makes me feel good. Thank you.
Thank you. It's just like, don't be careful who you idolize, be careful who you look up to, because there's always two perspectives. And you put that out there, sis. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. And, you know, like I said, that's one thing I've just had to learn about these different people. You know, like I said a few streams ago, a lot of times young people think that there's no difference between a millionaire and a billionaire. Like, it's so much money, you just stop counting, who cares? Oh, no, 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 no. There's a big difference, young people. You know what I mean? Like, anybody can be a millionaire. Anybody can win the lotto, but billionaires make things move and shift. Right. You know, and we become so dependent on technology, it is scary. You know, while our phones got smarter, we got dumber. You know, there was a point in time, like I said before, when I was in elementary school, and I literally, this is back in 6th grade, honey, I knew everybody's phone number by heart in my classroom.
What?
I'll be on party lines. Shout out to all the 90s kids. Call Letitia. Now, Letitia, you call Juanita. Juanita, now you call Jenna. Now you call John. You call Jose. It'd be like 20 of us. And we knew everybody's number by heart. Like, hold on, let me go ahead and call her. To this day, I still have to like literally think, go into my phone, put in address, and give my address. I don't even have my address memorized, just off the top of my head. I know my mom's address because she's been living there forever. I move a lot. So sometimes I'll think about my address in LA. I'm like, damn, I ain't lived in LA in 3 years. It's that bad. Well, I have to go into my phone to get my address. If somebody asks me, like, what's your address? I literally have to go on my phone. What's your PO box? I have to go on my phone. I'm like, this shit has dumbed us down so bad. And it's scary because, again, I still have memories of the good old days. I wasn't always the best math student, but damn, I knew certain, you know, math things in my head. Now it's like, no, I have to have a calculator for every little thing, you know? So it's like, if it's dumbed us down to less than, you know, 2 generations, what's happening to the babies behind us when that's all they've known? When we're giving iPads and cell phones to children who are 2 and 3 years old, and that's what's babysitting and entertaining your child, where's their brain going to be by the time they're 18, 19, 20? It's
I feel you. If I have to practice handwriting because I become so dependent on autocorrect. So it just floored me. The words, I used to be a spell champion. And when I handwrite some things, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What is this? It drives me crazy.
It is. It's really hard. Like, even this year, I sent out so many like Christmas gifts and cards to people. Like, I literally had to practice first on just regular paper, and we had to hunt to find paper, honey. I ended up writing it on like printer paper because I don't even have a notebook. So I'm like, I'm opening up the printer, like, I need paper because we don't even use paper anymore. And I'm writing, like having to practice writing because my writing is already terrible. So it's like, at least, you know, mess up on the damn printer paper before you write it on the, you know, permanently on the card, you know. But yeah, it's really just dumbed us down. Half these kids don't know cursive. They don't teach people how to read. Like in my Lexus, it has a, you know, regular digital clock, but then it also has like, I guess, an analog clock, like, you know, the old school, you know, 12, you know, it has that too. And sometimes when kids get in the car, they're like, what's that? And I'm like, it's a clock. So what time is it on there? The same time it is on there. Like, they don't know how to read those type of clocks anymore. You know, so because again, we can just look at our watch and it's digital. Everything is digitized. And I think that's like the scariest part, is that we were chasing, you know, this whole tech revolution. And I think that's what I spent a lot of time just looking back on where we come in society. Like, you know, we're so busy chasing the next big thing. You know, we got hit with the whole Napster, and now we can share music with our friends instead of having to dub a tape, because that's what we used to do back in the day, just dub a tape. And we went from that to now we're with streaming. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I didn't know this until I got into DJing. And maybe some of y'all know this, and I'm just old, I don't know. But I remember when I first was trying to set up my music on my DJ setup, And I went and I'm trying to download on my Apple Music. I'm like, I have all this Apple Music. I'm paying, money, and I'm trying to slide it over. It ain't going. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm literally having to Google, like, why is my Apple Music not transferring to Serato? I found out in that moment, I don't own none of that shit. They own it. I'm paying them $10 a month to rent the music. I don't physically own it. We've given that up. That was like a big slap in my face. And I did not know that until I got into DJing. So what I do, I had to go and pull out all my old hard drives. Because when I have all my bootlegs, honey, all my old LimeWire, and pulled all the MP3s off of that. Because we've gotten so conditioned that, oh no, you don't need your MP3s, you don't need your CDs, you don't need your DVDs, just stream Netflix, stream. But if all that shit shuts down tomorrow, if Netflix crashes tomorrow, what are y'all gonna watch? Y'all done threw away all your DVDs. What's going to entertain you? We don't think about that because we've gotten so into technology, we're not understanding that we're not owning any of this. And that's the sad part. We've given teaching kids over the summer how to garden, how to, grow food, like the young lady was saying earlier. We've given all that up and we've just handed kids cell phones and told them learn to dance, be a TikToker.
T, I love the energy in this Zoom. This is so lit. Thank you so much and have a great night.
Thank you, sis. I appreciate you and thank you for calling in.
Thanks.
Let me go ahead and bring on Marquis. Marquis, go ahead and unmute your microphone, sis.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing all right. Hold on, y'all. Changing rooms. Everybody is asleep, so I'm trying to be quiet. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about my experience with Forex and investing and just trying to become a better person all together. So I actually started with Forex about 2 months ago. I want to say like around November.
Now, what is Forex for people who don't know?
Forex is day trading.
Okay.
So it's a foreign exchange money. So yeah, like basically it's like a trading minute trade type of deal. And I started with Acorns. That was my first thing I ever did with as far as stocks. And like you said, it's not something that happens overnight. You don't get rich really fast. I had Acorns for at least 3 years. It's 2021. So yeah, in 2019 is when I started. And I didn't see a lot of money from that. And I kind of boosted that up to like progression of investments. And then I was on Facebook one day, this girl, she did a live and she was talking about Forex. And I actually never knew about it. She started talking about it and I'm like, oh, okay. So this is more of what I would like to do. Now, the thing about it, about her was she was a MLM. I think she was a part of that type of situation and I'm not for it at all. And like the pyramid schemes, like I'm not with that. If anybody comes up to you, say, hey, you want to join my team, that's a red flag. That's a red flag.
For people asking, an MLM is a multi-level marketing, kind of like that. What's that nonsense they all be selling, that tea, the NutriBurst?
NutriBurst, yeah.
That they say it's not, but it is. It's an MLM.
Right. So there's one called, I think it's called like IM. That's the one she was trying to get people to sign up for. And she's like, you just need $240 something and you can take this and then we'll tell you. And then overnight, you just start making it live with the people, just talking real good. And I'm like, yeah, but I also could take that same money, invest it into myself without a team and go and do the research myself because I don't know you like that. So that's what I did instead. I ended up like going on Baby Pips. Baby Pips is free of charge, and they basically, it's like pre-K to high school is how they basically say it, and it's teaching you courses step by step of what foreign exchange is, what the different anagrams, the acronyms stand for like US dollar to Japanese dollar. It teaches you every single thing. One thing I'm struggling right now on is candles. I don't get along with candles. I like the lines. And someone was saying earlier, is basically you wanna buy when it's low and you wanna sell when it's high. I use Pocket Options. It's free. They let you do demo, get you a demo account for $1,000, and you can just play and learn the charts. They give you different strategies to use. You can download those different strategies. Another one that a lot of people use is MetaTrader 4. So like I said, I'm new at it. I'm not gonna give you like any tips on how to do it, but I can say I made a little bit of money back doing the demo, and I started my live account by Bitcoin through Cash App. I put $10 into my Bitcoin, transferred that over to my Pocket Options, and I played with that little money. And then when I felt like I needed to quit, risk management. That's one thing that one girl did teach me is risk management. When you play like three trades, get out the game. Don't continue to go, because that's how you start to lose money that you don't even have. There was another thing you guys were talking about how financially we're not taken care of course, financially. We don't have our ancestors or our people to teach us about financial stability. And then you guys were also talking about, we do know about the distractions. We do know about party life. We do know about the sports. We do know about the music. We know about all of that. And all I could think about is all we are to them, and I mean the Black community, is entertainment to everyone else. I think about Hottie Tot, or Josephine Baker, how back in the day, they were the first of this, that, and the third, but they were nothing but entertainment to them. Yeah, they were successful, but they were nothing but entertainment. What else did they like have any investments from that? What have they grown from that entertainment? So I definitely agree with that. What I just got out of it is they see us as the entertainment to their good life that they're living. Yeah, that's about it. I enjoyed everything about this. The man who told us to take a pen and a paper, trust me, brother, I'm gonna rewind it, fast forward, back it up, and play it again, because you said a word on tonight that I think it blessed everyone's soul. So thank you.
It did. No, this was an awesome stream. It's 9:44 already, so I really thank everybody for just coming. This discussion has such a wealthy information, so I'll definitely be downloading this and uploading it privately onto the YouTube channel so you guys can rewatch it back. But I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I hope you guys learned something. I learned stuff from you guys here, so it's definitely a even exchange. So I love that. So on that note, I will see you guys on the Discord.
Before we go, can you guys applaud yourself for following the rules and being Blue Discord exclusive members and being there?
Thank y'all. Will be here.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye,
Bye, you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios. Adios. Bye-bye.